All right, we're live. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's Thanksgiving. I have my guest here today. If let me pronounce it right. Is it Garda Ghost?
Garuda Ghost.
Garuda Ghost. I'm here with Garuda Ghost, and as some of you may know, he was on here with Messenger and I when we did our podcast. That was several months ago, and I reached out to him and see if he wanted to come for a Thanksgiving podcast. And here we are, and we've got several topics and stuff that we're going to talk about today. Stuff that I really like these topics, Ghost. You had some really good topics here, and I think people really like these because these are things that are relevant that everyone goes through. And man, we'll keep it just real simple, and no pressure, no rush. We're just going to enjoy our evening and chat with everyone here. I know that there's a lot of people that it's Thanksgiving Day here in America, and everyone has off. Unfortunately, I have to work tomorrow, so that sucks. But you know, we have the weekends. I have the weekends off, so I had today off. I have today off. Have to go back to work tomorrow. Then I'll have Saturday and Sunday off. So it'd be a nice little break, I suppose. And you guys there, I don't think you guys. It's only an American thing that we have Thanksgiving. So I know Canada has a Canadian Thanksgiving, but it's a completely different month than
Yeah, because
Americans.
in Europe, yeah, it depends which country you are. Like we have alternative versions of it. Like let's say in America you have the 4th of July, and then in the Netherlands we have May the 5th. But the meaning is pretty the same, but at a different date. And you know what it is, Element? Like I always see like America as an alternative version of Western Europe. You got pretty much the same things like us, but yeah, different, you know?
Yeah, I've always had a passion for Europe. I really like Germany. I like the way the country looks. I like the architecture. I like there's a lot of things about that. I like Germany. I like the Netherlands. I like Finland. I just really like those specific European countries. And there's obviously more European countries that I haven't really looked too much into. But just those specific countries I really like. I like the cold weather. So like the Netherlands and Norway and all those places appeal to me because of that. But you're right about that. Europe has a lot more culture, though. I think Europe has maintained its culture, and America's culture. Well, we really don't have a culture.
Yeah, and like here in Europe, the culture is also much pretty gone, you know. But let's say I'm gonna give you an example. Like let's say Belgium, that is the New Jersey of Europe. Spain is like the California of Europe, you know. That is how you can see it actually.
Yeah, that's a good way to put that. Yeah, I've never thought of it that way.
I mean,
But
I've been in when I was in New York. I also been in New Jersey. Yeah, I don't know if you ever been in New Jersey, but that is one big fucking ghetto, man. And
yeah,
it's like people always call it the shithole of the United States, and Belgium is like the shithole of Western Europe, you know.
yeah, New Jersey's rough. Philadelphia is rough. Chicago is rough. California is completely gone as far as any kind of morality or any kind of common sense left. Anything in the southern hemisphere of the United States, you're going to be safe. And also some of the northern, like North Dakota, South Dakota, Montana, places up there are a lot better. I know North Carolina, South Carolina, Alabama, certain southern states are, in terms of the people and in terms of the politics, are way better than if you were to go live in New York or Chicago or any of these places. Now, Chicago as a whole state is not bad, or Illinois, I should say. The state of Illinois is not bad. It's just those cities and certain parts of those cities are just terrible.
Yeah, it depends where you are because like I've been in New York, I've been in Los Angeles, and I've been in Chicago, and like you always hear crazy stories about Chicago, but like I haven't been in Southside Chicago, but let's say the downtown area of Chicago is beautiful, and what I've noticed in Chicago, you don't have so many homeless people compared to New York or Los Angeles. And actually, I think I also told you that the last time. Like when I was in New York, I had the feeling like I was in New York. When I was in LA, I had the feeling like I was in LA or Mexico. But like
Yeah.
Chicago, and I've also been to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and Minneapolis and St. Paul, Minnesota. For me, that is the real America. Like, uh, yeah, like let's say I'm not vaccinated, so I will probably never come back to America. But if I had to choose a place in America to live, I would prefer the Midwest.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with the Midwest. Florida is really nice, depending on what part of Florida you live in. You know, unless you got tons and tons of money, going to live in Miami is just not feasible. It's way too expensive. Um, a lot of people now from these democratic states like California and Chicago and New York are all trying to move to the South because of how bad things are getting up there. And there are certain parts of New York and Chicago and stuff and LA that the police won't even go because it's so dangerous that the minute they go up there, they'll just get shot up by gangs. I mean, they will not go down there. There's some really bad places like Detroit, Michigan, for example.
Yeah, yeah. Like, yeah, to be honest, like I didn't really felt safe in Los Angeles, man. Like, you cannot just walk there alone without groups of
No.
people bothering you. You know. And
Yeah, no.
it's like it is not that you see gang members on every street corner, but in Los Angeles, you got to be really careful where you go, and you also got to know how you can get out of there. You know.
Yeah, yeah, you got to know the area. There's certain places, even where I live. I mean, this is all across the United States. You're obviously going to have high crime areas, but you definitely have to know that. And it's not only just the gangs. The gangs typically stay with where they're at, I think. I'm not a gang expert, but they usually stay where they control their area. They don't just start going out and shooting up people. But what you really have to worry about is just the people that live there are crazy. And it's just, for example, if somebody from Europe came to California and they weren't aware of Skid Row, when they go down there, they're going to be in for a real big shock. And if you're not aware of the fact that you don't want to go down there and then you stumble across that place, it's not really gang territory. It's a bunch of homeless people that are on drugs and out of their freaking minds and they have problems.
Yeah, true.
And,
But I
you
think,
know,
yeah, like me myself, I've never been to Philadelphia, but I think Skid Row is nothing compared to Kensington Avenue in Philadelphia. I think.
yeah. Well, there is certainly places that are a lot worse than others, that's for sure.
Yeah. Hey,
And,
but by the way, I'm checking YouTube. Yeah, my avatar is gone.
oh, really?
I don't know. Yeah, it's not a problem, but yeah, that's strange.
I see that. That's very strange. I
Yeah,
did
yeah, it
not
doesn't
know that.
matter. But yeah, anyway, yeah, Element, thanks for having me here, man. Because like I know you don't talk a lot with other people, so for me it's really big honor to be here. And yeah, for me to do a stream, this is the perfect time because like when I do a stream, that's always in the middle of the night. Right now in the Netherlands, it's 12:30, and you know what, Element, like maybe the things that I hate at daytime, I maybe enjoy it at nighttime. So for me, this was the perfect time. And I came home from work 2 hours ago. I took a shower. I eat something. So yeah, this was the perfect time for me. Because like for you right now, it's about 5:30, right?
That's right.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So the time difference between you and me is 7 hours.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can relate to that. I'm a night person myself. I mean, my schedule has changed to where I have to get up very early for work. I mean, probably about 5:36. I have been trying to get up by 5:30 because I like to have plenty of time before I have to get up and go to work and do things that I want to do, whether that's just chilling out or relaxing or whatever. I hate the feeling of the minute that I wake up, I have to get up and go to work immediately. Like I'm always like, I hate that feeling. I like knowing I can get up, relax, enjoy have some time before I have, get my thoughts together. And I've learned that about myself because when I was younger, I used to be like that. I used to be like, shit, I've got 20 minutes to get ready and have to go. And I hated being under the gun like that. I'm always under the gun when I'm at work anyway. I mean, the way you start your morning will determine how well your day goes. And you start learning about how to be more productive and effective in your life when you learn those things. And, it's so I like to get up early and try to enjoy my morning and get myself ready. And I find that I have a much better day as a result of that. So, but it's hard, your body has to get used to it. But I've worked midnight shifts and I really enjoy that. I used to stay up. I used to a long time ago when I was like in my late teenage years into my early 20s. I'd stay up till 3 or 4 in the morning and then go to sleep all day because my work schedule was like that, and I loved it. At nighttime things are quiet, and it's just way more enjoyable.
Yeah, me actually, I am the exact opposite. Like, when I have morning shift, I gotta be at work around 6, and I wake up about 5 o'clock. Yeah, like for me, it's the exact opposite because like before I go to work, I like let's say you are doing something before you go to work, then you have to stop it because you gotta go to work. So for me, it's the exact opposite. Like when my day starts, no, let me explain you it a different way. Like when I have afternoon shift, I start at 2 o'clock and I wake up about 1 o'clock because I cannot drink a beer, I cannot do nothing, and because then I have to quit. So for me, yeah, I don't really know how to explain that in English, but for me, that is actually the exact opposite. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, well, I tell you what, I used to have a few beers after work, and you know, the thing about that was, I'd wake up hungover, and I can't be hungover at work. I have to be on point at work, and so and it's probably better and healthier. I don't drink nearly as much as I used to. I only have a few beers on the weekends, and Friday and Saturday are the days if I want to have a beer, I can have a beer. So, but during the week, I don't drink nothing because it makes me feel terrible. When I wake up, I'm off point, and I work directly with my boss every single day, and he's hard to work with. He's a jerk. And so, I have to be on point to make sure I keep him off my ass. And I also, don't like feeling like garbage every day. So, for me during the week, I don't do any drinking unless it's on the weekends. And that's worked out fine for me. Everybody's a little different, I suppose, but you find, and it's probably not advisable. I mean, like if you're, for me, it's not just one beer. I like to have a few. I mean, not a few meaning I don't drink 17 beers a night or I don't drink 10 or 8, but I'm you got to be on point. At least with my job, you have to be on point. If I make a mistake, then really bad things can happen. So I have to make sure that that happens. So that's me though.
yeah, I get your point because yeah, I like when it comes to drink, like I don't want to be drunk. I want to feel a little bit tipsy. But like also with beer, you got to be careful because the thing is like I think 70 or 80% of the people that are addicted to alcohol, they only drink beer. And even though beer is only 5% alcohol, don't be mistaken with beer. So, and when it comes to yeah, you said your boss. I think your boss, that is typical American because like in the Netherlands we always say, yeah, you don't have a boss, or only if you are a dog you have a boss. Like like I don't have a boss. No, I have a supervisor or a group leader or a shift manager. So
Yeah.
I think that is the difference between America and yeah, the Netherlands. I think yeah, I've never worked in America, but I think in America, if you have a job from 9 to 5 from Monday to Friday, you are more like a slave than in the Netherlands. Like when I talk to my supervisor, I just call him by name. Sometimes I don't say good morning. I say, "Hey, yo, man," to my supervisor. So yeah, I think that is the difference between America and the Netherlands. You have a boss, I have a supervisor. Yeah, what? what are your thoughts about that? Like
Well,
like it is just a word, but yeah.
Well, I also think it depends on what environment you work in. Like I've had supervisors and I've had managers, I've had bosses, I've had team leaders. I've had those people too, and they are way different than a boss. Like I think a lot of it has to depend on where you work. With my specific job, I'm more of in a career profession. So I work directly for the owner of the company who owns the company and he's my boss.
Okay,
So
yeah, okay, I understand.
but if, I've had jobs before where there's 3,000, there's 1,000 people that work up there. And so you have managers that manage 15 different sections, or I'm sorry,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you have 15 different managers that manage 15 different areas. And the thing I've noticed specifically about a boss versus a manager is the manager always has to report to their boss too. So they have bosses. So they're more, and it's not always the case, and I know this because I've had experienced this, that depending on who your quote unquote manager is, they tend to relate a little bit more to you in terms of the situations that you have to deal with the stresses of work and the people they have to report to. They kind of relate more to your situation because they also have to report to somebody else, and so they know the stresses. So I think they are more relatable to the coworkers, but that's not always the case. There are bad managers out there who will, their bosses are yelling at them to get numbers out. And so they're putting pressure on you. But it just depends, I think, on your working environment.
Yeah, true. And because like let's say the boss of my company, I never saw him.
Yeah, same here with when I used to work for a very big delivery company. The one of the number one or the second biggest delivery company in the entire world. The actual CEO, you'll never see him.
No, and like yeah, you don't have to tell me what your job is, but yeah, my job, I work yeah, me myself, I work as a machine operator at a pharmaceutical company. We are making vaccines for breast cancer and cervix cancer for women, actually. So, like, I consider myself as a MGTOW, but I am making vaccines for women. Like, how
That's very
ironic
funny.
is that, man?
That's very funny. Yeah. Well, I work in the skilled trades. I'm not going to mention what skilled trade I work in, but I work in the skilled trades, and you know, I like what I do. Um, I've had jobs that are way harder than what I do now, and I'm on a salary. So if I get off early, I still get paid no matter what. So that's really nice. And I get a bunch of overtime because I work at least, 45 to 50 hours a week. So before the job I had before, I was working probably, I had a lot, I was working even less, but I was getting paid even more than what I'm making now. But the stress was through the roof. And my job can be very stressful at times, but not because of the work, but because of my boss, you know. And if I make one mistake, it can be catastrophic to a person's home. So I have to be very careful with what I do. And then you have a boss who's just on your butt and micromanaging everything you do. On top of that, it can get very, very stressful. But that's just him. I actually have two bosses because both of those bosses own the company. And I, have worked with both of them personally. And the boss that I work with now, he's hard to work with, very hard, so very much so. But his other boss, my other boss, is a lot more laid back, and I get along with him a lot more. So,
Yeah, but I don't like I don't know how that works in the United States, but like here in the Netherlands, if you work on the weekend, you get more paid. If you work overtime, you get more paid. If you work at nighttime, you get more paid. How is that in the United States?
well, it depends on what kind of company you work for. That is not a requirement. Um, that usually is not a requirement where, let's say, for example, you work on the weekends, they have to pay you more. that's up to the company that you work for's discretion, whether or not they actually want to pay you more for working on the weekends or not. Um, Typically, if you work in distribution or you work in a warehouse, usually they will offer those kind of incentives where if you're working a midnight shift, they might give you $1 or 2 more an hour to do that. It's usually not $2. It's usually $1 more, maybe two, depending on what you do and how long you've been there. It's usually the warehouse positions that do that. Now, I've never worked in any other place, but that's not a requirement. Usually, the way it works is you get paid either per hour, or like I said, depending on what kind of job you're in or whatever, you might get paid per commission, which I don't recommend. You want to get paid per hour, so that every hour that you work, you're guaranteed to wait. You're guaranteed to get paid that much. Um, but yeah, to answer your question, that's all up to the company's discretion whether or not they actually want to pay you more per hour or not, based on what time or when you work. But it's not a
Okay.
requirement.
And when it comes to work, like I am satisfied with my position. Like I am like I do not have the highest position in my company, but also not the lowest. I'm between in them, and like I don't want, like what I've noticed, like the higher your position is in a company, the bigger the chance that they kick you out when there comes a reorganization. I mean, just because of the fact that I don't have the highest position, that's also the reason that I still work there after 12 years. So like let's say like I I can be a supervisor, but as a supervisor, I mean here in the Netherlands, you only make maybe $200 or $300 more every month, but you have more responsibilities, and when there comes a reorganization, there is a bigger chance that they kick you out, you know. So I am happy with the position that I have in my company, and that is how, yeah, that's keeping me motivated. And like in the United States, I don't know how that is in the United States, but like here in the Netherlands, you don't really need a diploma or an education to have a good job. Because yeah, me myself, I never even finished high school because I was too lazy. But like I know people that went to university, they only make $200 or $300 more than me every month. So yeah, I have nothing to complain, man.
Yeah, well, college, college is a big waste of time, in my opinion, because by the time you get your degree and first of all, college isn't cheap. Now, yes, you can go to community college, but you still have to pay for it. Most of the time, you're going to pay anywhere between $30,000 and $40,000 for your degree, more or less, depending on what you do, how far you go into it. And usually, by the time you go through all of the accreditations that you have to go through, the degree that you get, and all of the money, which is the biggest thing I'd tell people, unless you have the money to pay for college, you don't need to be going, because you're going to get yourself into so much debt. And there's no guarantee that you're going to get a job. I mean, I worked with guys, I have worked in jobs where there is no skill requirements. They'll take you without any degree, any experience. You don't even have to have a high school diploma. They'll just take you. And I have made more money per hour than someone who went to a 4-year professional college for a business degree or anything like that. I knew one person, he got his master's degree in I think he got his master's degree in psychology, and he couldn't find an internship. He was working with me, and I'm making more than he'll make with a master's degree, and he went to school for 6.5 years. So by the time you get done with that, depending on what degree you get into, those degrees will be obsolete in 5 to 10 years. Then you're going to be, all your accreditation and all these things that you went through will be obsolete. And that's why I've told people nowadays we're dealing with technological related issues where a lot of these degrees and jobs that people would go take are getting replaced by robots. And people think, well, I'll just, they'll give you a job to learn the technological sector, to learn how to work on robots. No, they won't. No, they won't. They're not going to do that, because the whole purpose of those things is to get rid of jobs. So what I tell people, it doesn't matter what you, that's why I went into the skilled trades, because I knew pretty much for certain that what I do specifically cannot be replaced with robots. It just can't, because you can't, there's certain things that I do that the robot just can't do.
Yeah, true. Because
And,
like I make vaccines, little bottles, and like when I first started working here, you had a let's say a camera that was checking if the vaccines were good. But the thing is, though, you can program that camera. That camera doesn't. I don't really know how to explain that in English. But actually, my point is, the human eye is the best camera that you can have. So
oh
yeah,
yeah.
I understand your point. And like when it comes to educate, like a couple of months ago, I put my in the Netherlands we call that a CV. That is, let's say
A
your
resume.
working experiences.
We call it a
And like
resume, but yeah.
they don't ask you like uh, what is your diploma. No, they ask me how many experience do you have. I have 12 years experiences. So experience. Yeah, sorry for my fucked up English, man.
No,
But I
there's no
mean, like
English Nazis running here.
I
It doesn't
put
matter.
my CV on some website. Uh, I had about 28 responses in less than 2 days. You know?
Well, that's good. I mean, most companies, depending on what you do, most of them don't even read the resumes. They don't have time to read them. They don't, it's a waste of time. Um, you know, a lot of the thing about resumes is that, and I can only speak from my experience of what I've learned, that most of these companies and HR departments don't read them, because they might have 15 to 20 resumes on the books. I mean, nobody's going to sit there and try to figure out of 20 different people sitting there trying to weigh the options of who's the accurate candidate. No, because they have to make numbers. They've got to get those people in and fill those positions as soon as possible. And so, unless you're going for a serious, like either like a skilled trade where you have to know what you're doing, or you're a doctor, or some, a position where you do have to know what you're doing. You can't just go take anybody off the street. Then experience doesn't matter. They'll take anybody.
Yeah, true, man. Like if you are, let's say, if you worked at a bakery, yeah, you cannot be a doctor.
Yeah.
So yeah, I
Yeah.
get your point, but I think when they hired me in this company, like that was 12 years ago, so I didn't had experiences. But I think they hired me because of my personality and my way of talking. And they were like, I think this guy is motivated, even though he doesn't have a diploma. And after 12 years, I still work here. And I am, yeah, I consider myself as one of the best because, like, when I first started working here, let's say the people that trained me, they don't even work here anymore. So right now I am the coach. Right now I am the mentor. You know, and like it's also like how motivated are you? How much? Like let's say like yeah, I fucked up my high school, but I am so happy that at least at work, yeah, I find my place. But like there are also people they cannot find their place at work, they cannot find their place at school, yeah, so they become criminals. And like I am so glad that I did not become a criminal because it's yeah, it's but
I've known
like these
people.
days you got to be happy to have a job. Like like I'd rather go work at McDonald's or the grocery store than selling drugs. I mean, like I know so many people, they make money at yeah, maybe a little bit of a strange way, but think about the fact that you always had to run for police. And like yeah, that's not for me, man. So I am so happy that I just find a good job.
I've known people that have dropped out of high school and they're doing fine. And one of the
Yeah,
things
same like
that,
me.
one of the things that I've noticed, school, it really doesn't matter. You need to have a modicum of intelligence, though. I mean, you can't be although I have worked with some really stupid people where they really don't need to be in the workforce. But that comes to show you, because I believe what's happened is the barrier. See, what's happened is specifically in America is the barrier of entry for these positions have become so low that anybody can get them now. You know, you might have had to have certain level. You might have had, when such as technology really started to advance, and no one really saw that coming. I guess that might have been during the dot com time in the early 2000s. If you had an associate's or even a certificate, which isn't a degree, you were making $80,000 a year. But now everyone's got a college degree because every single kid that graduates high school has been programmed and indoctrinated where they are told you must go to college to succeed because it's a business. If no one's going to college, the colleges don't make money. They don't make money. They go out of business.
Yeah, true. Because
So,
like I mean, like if college and university, if it was really about educating people, then it would be free, right?
yeah, I guess so. Yeah. I mean, and but nowadays, like I said, everybody has got a college degree, which makes them useless. With what I do, people don't want to do with what I do, but I like what I do. I get off at a great time. I have a great schedule. I'm on a salary, which when you think of a salary, one of my friends has a very high paying job in a managerial position, and he's on a salary, and I'm also on a salary, and I don't have a college degree, and I'm in a skilled trade that can't be outsourced and cannot be replaced with AI or robots. It just can't. And it's just one of those things that when I was much younger, I didn't do very well in school. I mean, I made good grades, but there were certain subjects I failed at, and it cost me. I had to go to summer school and all that kind of stuff to be able to make it happen. All of the things that I learned when I was in high school and when I was going to school, I don't use any of it except for basic adding and subtraction, and that's it.
Yeah, because like the most important things in life, they don't teach you that in high school. Like I had a B plus for German, a B plus for French, and I got an A for English. And but let's that's also a different thing in America. Yeah, like at high school you have, let's say, an A B or C, but in the Netherlands we get, let's say, a 10 or a 9 or an 8. Let's say a B plus is like an 8 and an A is a 9. That's also a difference in America. But when it comes to salary, if you say to me like I am making 80K per year, like, is that with tax or without tax?
No, that is before tax. So they'll tell you, let's say for example, I get a job and they're going to offer me $80,000 a year. That does not include before taxes, and that also, depending on where you live, will affect that as well. So I live in a state with no state income tax. So the only taxes that I have to pay out of my paycheck are federal tax, and I think, yeah, no. So the way it works for me, I'm sorry, let me clarify. I live in a state with no income tax. If you live in a state that has state income tax, you have to pay federal tax, you have to pay their state income tax and their city tax, and you have to pay Medicare and Medicaid. So you get taxed like four different times. If
Phew.
you live in a state without state income tax, you only have to file, you pay a flat tax out of your paycheck and you're done. I get 15% taken out of my paycheck every single week. So the more you make, the more you get taxed. So if somebody offers you $80,000 a year, you're probably going to be making more like 70, 60 to 70,000. So,
Yeah.
everybody thinks, oh, it's all about the money, but the more money I make, it's just going to they're going to tax me even more. So if I make $150,000 a year, I'm getting taxed at a higher tax bracket of 20%. So if I'm
Yeah.
making 100, if I'm making six figures, they're going to tax me 20%. I think it's 22%.
Phew,
Now, yeah. Now, if you go live in California, their taxes are more like 30.
Do you know how many tax we pay in the Netherlands from your salary?
I don't think you guys. I think you guys pay like none, very
None.
little. Yeah,
Right now it's about I think 38, 39%.
really, that's a lot.
Yeah. So let's say I'm gonna give you an example. Let's say yeah, just an example. Right now I can say to you I make 100,000 every year, but without that tax it's maybe 60K a year. I'm just giving you an example. So, but yeah, talking about tax, like when I was in the United States, do you know what I fucking hate about the United States? When you buy something from a store, let's say you buy shoes that are $100, and I am standing in front of the cashier, and then I have to pay $130, and I'm like,
Yeah,
what the fuck? The price tag is $100. Yeah, but that is without tax. Like that is what I fucking hate about the United States, man. Like
yeah.
in the
No, we
Netherlands,
hate it
if you
too.
buy something that is without tax, that's also a difference between the United States and the Netherlands.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we believe me, we hate it too. If you pay, for example, to back up your point, if we pay, let's say, for example, a Coca Cola or a soda is $3. It'll be three. It'll say 3.29.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
then you add on the sales tax, so you get taxed just for buying an item. So it's 3.29 that you have to pay, plus the sales tax on top of that, and that goes for every single item that you buy. So if you know when you live in the United States, you can kind
Yo,
of you
bro,
get used.
can you hold on 1 minute? I'm gonna close my window. It's starting to get rain, man. Hold on.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead, go ahead. But yeah, what with what Ghost was saying there, for those of you who are not in the United States, we have to pay a lot. We have to pay sales taxes and all this kind of stuff. And when you grow up here, you get used to learning how to figure out what more or less how much you're going to pay. And honestly, most people don't even think about it. What they look at is the number on the sticker, and that's it. We also have a lot of, for example, grocery stores have like membership cards that will save you a lot of money in taxes as well. And it's almost, I remember one time, I think I went to the grocery store, and I have a membership card with the grocery store that I shop at. My total was like $180. And because I used my card, it dropped it down to like 150 because of the items that I purchased were on a discount. So if you had a membership card,
Yeah, I'm back,
you
man.
would be on a discount. Ghost, I don't know if you heard any of that, but I was just saying
Yeah,
that,
I heard it.
okay, gotcha.
Like,
Well,
yeah, I talked to, but I don't know where you are, but in the Netherlands for November, it is colder than the years before, man. I think this is gonna be a really cold winter, man.
oh yeah. Yeah, no, I completely agree because it has, excuse me, this November has been the coldest I have ever experienced. Usually on Thanksgiving, it's hot. Like I remember at least the last two or three Thanksgivings, it was like 78 degrees. It's like now here, let me see, now here it's 50. So, I mean, yeah, I think we're in for a rough winter
Yeah, I
with all
think
the geopolitical stuff
like
too.
yeah, degrees in the United States is different than the Netherlands. I mean, like we have Celsius. What do you mean with degrees?
Well, that's just how we measure our temperature. So if it's like, I would say 30 degrees would be -5 degrees Celsius, something like that.
Okay, and like yeah, that is also a difference between yeah, Europe and the United States. In Europe, we always talk about kilometers or liters. In the United States, you always talk about miles or gallons or inches. Like I know 1 inch that is 2.54 centimeters, I think. But yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, is that easy for you? For me, as a European, that's pretty difficult to understand.
Well, we're so used to it. I mean, we've grown up since we were kids, and this is what we were taught, to learn. So for us, it's second nature. When we hear 70 to 5 degrees, 75 degrees, we just know what that means. Um, for us, most Americans don't understand the conversion between Celsius and degrees or Fahrenheit. I'm sorry.
But
So
it is the same with length. Let's say, I am about 177, 178 centimeters tall. So in the United States, I think that is something that's about 5 foot 9 or 5 foot 10, something like
something
that.
like that. That sounds like that. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but for us Europeans, like my English is not perfect, but I can understand English, yeah, pretty good. But for me as a European, that's pretty difficult to compare that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm used to it. I mean, because I have a lot of European friends and friends from different countries that, when we talk, they mention Celsius. Well, I've just managed to get accustomed to it. So I've learned, when, how to more or less tell the difference between the two. But yeah, I mean, metric is a lot more of a accurate measurement system than inches because it's a lot smaller. So there's a lot more space to measure from versus inches, which is a lot wider. It's a lot more rounded off, more or less, kind of. But metric, I've spoken to mechanics and people, they all say metric is a lot better measuring system than inches.
Okay, but like, yeah, you are in the United States. I'm in the Netherlands. It's like, also the language, like, uh, my way of English. It's like it is not the literally translation. It is an interpretation. Like let's say I'm gonna give you an example. In the United States, you ask somebody, "How are you doing?" If I would literally translate that in Dutch, it doesn't make sense. Because if you would ask me in Dutch, "How are you doing?" I would say, "Oh, that's none of your fucking business, man." Like in the Netherlands, we say like, uh, "How is it going with you?" Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty difficult to understand. But like I understand English, but if I would literally translate that to Dutch, for me it doesn't make sense. So it
Yeah.
is not a translation; it is a interpretation.
Yeah, that's right. There are certain languages that certain manners of speaking, like when an American says, "How are you doing?" It's to a foreign country that's not aware that it's more like a slang. But when somebody asks like, "Hello, how are you doing?" They're asking, how's your day going? How are you? It's a general term, but most Americans they just say, "I'm fine. How are you?" They don't really tell you how they're really doing. Like if you're a stranger
Yeah,
and somebody asks you that, most people are not going to tell you how they're really doing. It's just a way of being polite and being, you know, engaging in a conversation when somebody acknowledges you. That's all it is. But I wanted to talk about some of these topics because we had some topics here that Ghost had brought up that I'm really wanting to get at here. And one of them that we have here that you have here, Ghost, is the topic of bad dreams and nightmares. I've had some horrible nightmares and dreams, and I think a lot of that has to do with more or less some of the things that I know about, um, that pertains to how the world is and certain things that happen. But I wanted to talk about that. So let me ask you, um, what made you want to bring that up? And I'll let you go on with what you want to talk about with that, and we'll bounce back and forth with it. So tell us about nightmares and dreams. What made you want to talk about that?
yeah, cool, man. Yeah, right now we are already 44 minutes into this stream, so yeah, let's start the first topic. Yeah,
We're having a good time so far, so
yeah,
I'm enjoying
yeah,
it.
man. I actually, yeah, when it comes to dreams, like when I'm dreaming, uh, m- uh, yeah, I don't really know how to explain it in English, but my dreams are so realistic that, let's say, if I would never wake up, then I probably think that is my real life. Yeah, I don't really know how to explain that in English, but like let's say some people they dream that they can fly. That is not realistic. Some people dream that they are a millionaire. That's also maybe not realistic. But my dreams is actually an alternative version of my real life. I'm going to give you an example. One time I had a dream that I was walking in downtown and it looks pretty similar like in real life, but yeah, different. Yeah, yeah, I don't know how to
Yeah.
explain that in English, man, but my dreams are so real that for me it is actually my second life. When it comes to bad dreams, that is based on things that are happening in this world and based on my personal experiences. It's a combination of that, actually.
I have had um, very horrific dreams uh, before where I've actually had sleep paralysis. Um, and I remember I had a dream. It was a nightmare. I mean, it was very bad. And I woke up and I couldn't even move because I was so terrified of what I saw in my dream that they refer to that term as sleep paralysis. You're so scared you can't even move. I have had dreams that are like that, and a lot of it I think has to do with the kind of information that I'm aware of, and also certain things that um, I study that cause that. I believe, I can't be certain. A lot of the stuff, I will admit I study heavily into the occult, and I keep that stuff very private. I really don't like to talk about it because it's very personal, and it's one of those things that I've learned, you know, it's one of those things that you can tell people about it and they might find it interesting, but it's a very personal thing because it's one of those things where you have to willingly want to know these things for it to really take full effect, because I can read something all day long, but if I have no interest in it, it doesn't matter. You're not going to be as fully involved. So that's just me. But I have had I as of recently I had one dream where, and I'll tell you guys about it. It was very quick. My dreams happen very quick. It's like a flash, and sometimes they last a little bit longer, but as of recently I haven't been dreaming very much. But I had a dream where I was outside viewing a house that I don't remember if it was on fire or what, but there were people screaming inside this house, tons of them. I'd say, I don't know how many, but it was a lot of people in this house just screaming, trying to get out, and they couldn't. And in the same dream, it flashes to me in my garage, and my backpack is sitting on top of a stool. And inside there, I hear this cat crying inside my backpack. And I try to open the backpack and there's nothing inside of it. And the noise just keeps getting louder and louder and louder of a cat just crying. And I try to open the backpack and I can't get the cat out. And it just keeps getting louder and louder and louder. And then every time that I try to open the bag, it resets me back to me walking in the garage, and the same thing happens all over again. And then I wake up. So my nightmares are pretty horrific. I've had some I won't get into, but I've had some really bad nightmares, and I think a lot of it is a spiritual thing. I really do, because my nightmares are downright demonic. They are hardcore evil. And I've had some nightmares, like I said, I'm just not going to get into because they're so horrific. I don't even want to talk about them because if it's just something it's just bad. And what are your thoughts? I guess I want to segue this also into a spiritual aspect, more or less. What do you think these nightmares are a result of? Do you think it's a spiritual thing or what?
Yeah. First, I want to ask you. You talk about a group of people in a burning house and they are screaming, right?
Yeah, that was my most recent.
I want to ask you. Those people, are they screaming for you, or do they want your help, or do you have the feeling that you have to save them?
No, it was. I was just simply standing outside, and it's just people screaming. They're just screaming like in pain, and that's it.
But I mean, let's say those people are like those people. Are those people your family members or your coworkers or just people that you don't know?
Well, see, in the dream, I couldn't see the people. I could just hear the screams inside the
Okay,
house. So I actually never saw who they were or anything, but it was like tons of people, just all these different voices screaming in pain.
okay, yeah, yeah. I cannot really give you an answer on that because me myself, I never dreamed that. But when it comes to my dreams, I have two dreams that are always coming back. Uh, One thing, I always dream that, let's say, I come home from work, and in my house there are people sitting in my house, and they claim that they are living there and I do not live there. And in my dreams, I go like I cannot get those people out of my house, and sometimes I fight with them, the police coming, I show them my contract, hey yo, I signed this contract, this is my house. But I always dream like I come home from work, those people that are sitting in my house, they claim that they are living there and I do not live there. Yeah, I cannot get them out of my house, man. And like the police is coming, I fight with them, but they claim it is their house and it is not my house. And that dream is always coming back. And another thing, sometimes I also dreaming that somebody is following me, and I try to run away, but there is so much gravity that I cannot run, I'm running, but I cannot move forward. Those are two dreams that are always coming back. And like uh, I started to uh, make a diary from every dream that I have, and like I recommend you, if you wake up, grab a pen and paper and write what you dreamed, and then the next day read it again. For me, it helped, and I'm still trying to figure it out. What is the reason that I come home from work and the people in my house, they claim that they are living there and I am not? Maybe it's a sign, maybe it is a message that the apartment that I'm living in is not made for me. Maybe it is a signal or a message, but I cannot get those people out of my house in my dream. They claim that they are living there, and I am not. So, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's a tough one to,
yeah, it's a tough
you
one, and
know,
that dream always coming back, man. And
I
because
don't know, man.
the
It's a
funny
tough,
thing is, like, I'm living in an apartment, I almost never see my neighbors. I really have the feel like I'm living alone, but in my dream I cannot get those people out of my house because they are all claiming that they are living there. Yeah,
yeah.
crazy shit, man. Yeah.
I've heard of cases and heard of, when you go to sleep at night, and this is just something off the bat, that people that have talked about this, that, your brain goes into another place, and it kind of ties into what you would consider time travel. Or it could also mean that, I believe that we are in more than one place than we think we are. I think the place we live in, this place we call Earth, is not what people think it is. And I think that when we go to sleep at night, there is a certain part of our soul that goes elsewhere. And I believe that has a lot to do with dreams.
Yeah, and like what I've also noticed in my dreams, I am the boss and there are no rules. No, no, let me tell you this way. In my dreams, the police doesn't exist. Uh, uh, let's say 911 doesn't exist. One time I dreamed that I stabbed somebody to death and I just walk around and I can get away with that. Like in my dreams, there are no rules and there is no punishment and there are no consequences. The world is mine in my dreams.
Yeah.
It's
It's very
crazy, man.
bizarre, isn't it?
But do
I
you
love it
like
though. I love dreams.
I don't do you know that movie Beetlejuice? Do you know that movie?
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's about a man and a woman. They having a car accident and they think they survived it, and then they come home and then they read the newspaper and they found out that a man and a woman died from a car accident, and they are realizing that they are ghosts, and those new people in that house, they trying to make them scared. And yeah, you get my point, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, when it comes to dreams, man, it is hard to explain, but my dreams are always coming back. And actually, when I'm dreaming, that is actually my alternative life. And what I also remember about my dreams, let's say uh, I am walking around in a huge building, and in that big building, that is a shopping mall. That is also the company where I work. You have a park in that building. You have a forest in that building. In that building, you have water. You have beautiful things. Like it always takes place in some big building. Yeah, yeah, bro. Actually, I cannot explain it to you, man. It is yeah, it's crazy, man.
Dreams are very hard to describe. That's why I think our soul leaves our body when we go to sleep, and I think our soul goes other places, and that's about as far as I know about it. I don't know where it goes or anything. I really don't know. But I think there's a lot more to dreams than what we think, and I just don't know the answer as to where they are or where they go. You know, but I mean, I've had some horrible dreams, things that have still stuck with me till this day. It's just one of those things that I cannot explain and I cannot describe. Um, but I mean, but I mean, another thing. I'm just looking here at the topics. One of the things you have here to talk about is disrespectful behavior from people, and I can't tell you how much I see of that now.
Yeah,
I
I can
mean,
give you an example for that. Like, let's say, when you go to the grocery store and you put your items on the, I don't know the English word, those that, uh, yeah, I don't know the English word, but after you put your groceries there, then you put some, no, hold on, I'm gonna watch the translation. Hold on.
okay,
Let's see. Yeah,
yeah, there's
yeah. When you go to the grocery store, you put your groceries on a conveyor, right?
right.
And always you have some sort of a sign to put between your grocery stores, and then the person that is standing behind you, then he can put, so that the person that is working at the cashier knows those groceries from you. And because of that sign, the other groceries is from the person behind you, right?
Yeah, it's a little
Eh,
divider. We have a
yeah.
divider.
You get my point. But some people they don't do that. That irritates me, man. And or when, let's say, when you open the door for someone, like you, I don't want nothing back from you. You don't have to kiss my ass. You don't have to say thank you to me. But if I hold the door open for me, sorry, if I hold the door open for you, some people look at you like you are some piece of crap or something, man. I mean, yeah, at least you can say thank you, man. And that is what I mean with disrespectful behavior with people in general, you know? I mean, you are in a club, you are smoking a cigarette, somebody asks you for a lighter, and they just walk away. Like, I don't want nothing back from you, but at least you can say, hey, thanks, man, have a good night. I mean, that is me, but yeah, that pisses me off so bad, man. It's, yeah, just disrespectful behavior from people, like, yeah, antisocial. You also can call it that way.
Yeah, yeah.
And they are just small things, but I get so irritated by that, man. Or
People
let's
are
say,
rude.
you go to an ATM machine, you know, and after you take your money, you can choose, do you want a receive or not? I always press no because I don't want a receive. Many people they press yes, but they do not take out the receive, you know? Like, if you don't want a receive, just press no. Is it that fucking, like, yeah, I'm starting to get irritated already right now, man. But element, that is pissing me off, man. And that is what I mean with just behavior from people, man. Fuck, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
people are
already
rude.
get pissed off right now, man.
People are very rude. I don't blame you at all. I mean, man, I want to know if people there in the Netherlands are, and I probably know the answer because I live in America. Americans are rude. Depending on where you live, you know, people are more or less nicer than other states. Like if you go to New York City, forget about, you're on your own. People hate you in New York City. Everyone's an asshole and
I have
everyone hates
noticed
you.
that. I have noticed that. Like, let's say, yeah, New York, especially when you like traveling, like me, it is. You, yeah, you must have been there once in your life because it's New York. It is it. Let's say New York. It's yeah, it's the capital of the world. You know, most people see it like that. But do you know how alone I felt? Like, people there are so disrespectful. In
They
New
are.
York, nobody gives a fuck about each other. You know.
No. No, if you, for example, if you live in like Alabama or you live in the South and your car breaks down in some country, in a country road or something, you have a higher chance of somebody stopping to help you. But if that happens in New York or California or any of these major cities, you're on your own. I
Yeah.
mean, go look up, you can look up videos of people in New York City that they've done an experiment that are laying on the ground asking for help in pain. And I think there was a case where there was a guy that got stabbed and he was asking people for help and people were just stepping over him. That's how it is in New York City. They
Yeah,
don't care about anybody.
I think the fuck it is not only about that they don't help you, they are also laughing at you and making fun of you. I think that is even worse. It is not about that they don't help you. No, they also make fun of you.
That's why I tell people, I say New York City and all these places are the worst places you could ever live. They are terrible. The people that live there hate everybody. They don't care about you, and you're on your own. I mean, why anybody would want to live there beats me. That's how people get treated in the big cities. That's why
Yeah.
people want to leave them because they get treated like garbage. They
Yeah,
get
because
treated like they're
let's say,
subhumans.
like I've been like smaller cities in the United States. I've been to Milwaukee. I've been to Minneapolis. Like if I would move to the United States, it's gonna be yeah Minneapolis or Milwaukee or maybe Chicago, but definitely not New York and definitely not LA. Like those cities are good places as a tourist, but actually living there, I think because of my angriness and because of my irritation to other people, I think I will probably be in jail all the time, man.
Well, I don't blame you. I probably would be too, because I'm not going to tolerate getting treated like that by strangers. But that's why people there are so aggressive, because everybody treats everybody like garbage all the time. And so, I mean, you're on your own there. And those places, are just, not only are the people rude, but the crime is out of control.
But what like you ever been to New York?
I have never been to New York, but I know enough people that have been there, and that's how it is. I know what goes on there.
Yeah, do you know what I fucking hate about like in LA that is not the case, but do you know what I hate in New York? They they are just assuming that you give them tip. I mean, like if you go to New York, man, hey, go to a restaurant and just pay without giving them a tip. They look at you like you are insane. Like I was at the airport and my taxi driver, he took me to my hotel, and I asked him, "Hey, yo, man, is it okay if I smoke a cigarette?" No, and I was like, "Oh, yo, bro, hey, sorry, man, fuck." So
Everybody there is like that.
yeah,
They're
but
they're
like,
assholes.
yo, bro, it was just a question, man. Sorry. So he took me to my hotel, and it was about $48, and I gave him 50, and I was like, that other $2, yeah, you can shove it up in your ass, man. Because yeah, yeah, thank you for not letting me smoke in your cab. But I was like, fuck those $2. So it was $48. I gave him 50, and he said, "Do you know what he said to me? Hey, yo, bro, why are you giving me 50?" And first, I didn't understand him because I was like, bro, I already gave you $2 more. Those $2, you can see that as a tip. Yo, bro, you only give me $50. I mean, yo, bro, what the fuck? Yo, bro, I don't understand you. And he said, yo, brother, this is New York. Okay, and that was actually my first like they are actually assuming that you just give them tip. Like if I got treated the right way, I always give tip, but they are just expecting that you give them tip. When you go to with a cab or like, yo, bro, fuck New York, man. Fuck New York,
Well,
man.
that's why I tell people don't go there, because that's how you get treated.
Yeah.
New York is terrible. LA is not that much better. It's just the same. All these big cities are terrible. You know, they treat people
and
like
and,
garbage,
and
and I
like
hope they
I
burn.
think I think right now you can hear the angriness in my voice, and I'm sorry for that, but even if I think about it, it already pisses me off, man. So can you imagine if you are actually being there? Like I think if you go to New York, hey bro, 2 days is more than enough, man.
Yeah. No, I completely understand. I mean, it is that bad. It really is that bad. And that's why I don't ever want to live there. That's why people that live there are leaving there. And if you live in New York City and you're trying to get an apartment to live up there, you're basically paying like $2,000 to $3,000 a month to live in a closet.
Yeah, but like same with hotels. Like let's say in LA, yeah, let's say in New York, I paid about $130 for a room without a microwave, without breakfast, without a fridge. But let's say in LA and in Chicago, I paid about $100, but including breakfast, I had a microwave, a fridge. So yeah, let's say compared to New York, LA and Chicago is not that expensive. But yeah, when it comes to people, like in LA, yeah, let's say in New York, people are way too disrespectful. In LA, people are more polite, but LA is too dangerous. Yeah, I had a good time in Chicago, man. And whatever you say about Chicago South Side, down, yeah. For me, Chicago is the place, man. Yeah, just
Chicago is nice. I do like
the
Chicago.
Midwest,
It's
also Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Minneapolis, and St. Paul, Minnesota. Yeah, yeah. I would prefer the Midwest actually.
Midwest is the way to go. If you're going to live in the United States, either live in the South or the Midwest. Do not live on the East or the West Coast. Um, First of all, if you live in the Midwest or the South, things tend to be a lot cheaper. You live on the West or the East Coast, it's going to be way more expensive. So that's what I recommend. Go live out in the Midwest, and there's a lot of land out there. And if you got some money, you can buy yourself a piece of land away from everyone, and nobody will ever know you're even out there. If you have enough land and money to buy it, you can disappear, and no one will know that you're there. If that's how you want to live in. And the area I live is kind of like that, but now we got so many people that are trying to move in from other states here because of that, that it's getting busier, so but yeah, I completely understand New York and all these other cities. And speaking on the topic of disrespectful people, here people now are on a hair razor trigger. They're a finger away from killing everyone. People are rude. They'll cut you off in traffic. They don't care. And if you're dealing with criminals, they'll just fucking shoot you. I mean, here where I live, we've had shootings on the freeway where people have pulled up to people and just shot at their car because you cut them off in traffic or something. Seriously.
Yeah, when it comes to crazy people, like like most Dutch people, they've never been to the United States, but they always act like they know America. But I always tell them stories, and they always think that I'm bragging. But the stories that I tell them, like what I've seen in America, like when I was in your element, you were not gonna believe this, man. I was standing waiting at the train station, and there was a guy, yeah, probably under the influence of alcohol and drugs. I don't know, but there was a guy. He had a bicycle, and suddenly he goes on his knees and he's gonna look at his bicycle, but at some sort of a way, like, oh yeah, yo, what a nice bicycle I have, and 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 then suddenly he's gonna lick his tires. I was
Yeah.
like, yo, bro, what the fuck, man? And
There
I
are
am
people
not
like
gonna
that.
lie
Yep.
to you, man. Yo, bro, I know people that are addicted to drugs. I know people that are addicted to alcohol. But you gotta be a fucking idiot if you are gonna lick the tires of your bicycle. What the fuck, man?
Yeah.
And like that is like in general, I don't have problems with American people, but the most crazy people, yeah, you find them in America, man. It's like sometimes it's like you are in the middle of an action movie or a comedy movie, but yeah, America, man.
I know. I
Damn,
know.
bro.
I mean,
Fuck.
people here in America are mentally ill and they're soulless and they're godless.
I
And
mean,
that's just
what
how
the
it
fuck?
is.
Like, but what the fuck is on your mind if you're gonna lick the tires of your bicycle? What the fuck? I mean,
Yeah.
his wheels were, yeah, probably really clean after that. But, but yeah, bro? I am not gonna lie. I actually saw that, man.
I believe you. I know that stuff
What
goes
the
on here all the
fuck,
time.
man?
Oh yeah. I mean, and those. Oh yeah. Yeah. I
Damn.
know it. Yeah. There's some weirdos and there's some sick people here because in our country they've gotten rid of any kind of religious God. Any kind of. And look, we'll segue that into this topic, which is the topic of religion and stuff. Which it's a touchy subject, but I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Um, back in America, I should say back in the day, there used to be some resemblance of decency and religious values in this country. That's why on the dollar bill it says, "In God we trust." That's not really the reason why that's there, but to the average American, it meant that America believes in a higher power. That's not what it means, really, but at least to the average person, that's what they thought it meant.
Yeah.
So people had more decency and respect for one another. But because of the agendas at work, our country has been going down the tubes in an incredible rate. The generation that is up here now and the millennials are pretty bad. But now the generations that have been raised on technology, I can't even imagine what it's going to be like. But the point is that they have got, now they've got trannies that are going into schools trying to teach transsexual theology to children. When that starts happening, we are collapsed. We are on our way out because we do not care about our children enough to put an end to that. Now, there are people there that I think there was a case where, and I don't remember where, there was one of those trannies that went into a school trying to read stories to children. And one of the parents said, I think one of the parents blew his head off with a shotgun when he left the parking lot because they're allowing this stuff. Now, this is part of an agenda. This is so when you have that and you have all the filth and the garbage that they put out in the movies and the propaganda in the movies and in the TV through the kids to watch, and you see these cartoons, it is perverted shit. It is sublingual. As an adult, you can see it, but a children doesn't really understand that. So when they see that, they think that's normal, and now they're being indoctrinated to be sexually promiscuous from an early age, thinking that that's normal. And the parents are so stupid that they let it happen. So when you have years of the demoralization of America through that kind of level of nonsense, there's no wonder you see people licking their fucking bike tires. They have no God.
Yeah.
They have no soul. They are perverted and they're evil. Period.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I know people that are addicted to drugs. I know people that are addicted to alcohol. But what the fuck is going on in your mind if you're gonna lick your tires? What the fuck, man?
Yeah. Well, in the Bible actually talks about it. It's called a reprobate mind. Now that's not somebody licking their tires that has a reprobate mind, but that's more along the lines of pedophilia and stuff like that, and even worse. A reprobate mind is somebody whose soul has been destroyed through the evil that more than likely wasn't their fault. A lot of these people that you see that are pedophiles and abusers have been abused as children themselves.
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
It all goes back to childhood. If you see schizophrenics, mentally ill people, people that are child abusers, all these people have had some sort of abuse in their childhood, whether they were beaten or they were sexually abused as children, or they saw some really horrific thing that happened in their childhood. It fucks their heads up and they end up carrying that over to abuse others.
Yeah, I can give you an example of that. Like me myself, like when I'm happy, but when I'm angry, I am ready to fight. Like if you say something wrong to me, I probably punch you in the face, and that goes back to my childhood. When I was a little child, I saw that my mother, she almost beat up my aunt because, like, as a little kid, first of all, my mother always protected me, and my aunt, she is crazy. I was sleeping there, and I pissed in my bed, so my aunt, she locked me up in the toilet, you know. And when I told that, like, as a little child, I witnesses that my mom, she beat up my own aunt.
Yeah. And you saw that,
Yeah.
and in your head as a child, you probably thought that was a normal thing to do.
Yeah, I wouldn't say normal, but like, yeah, it is also not normal to lock up a child in the toilet because he
No,
pissed in his
not at
bed.
all.
So yeah, respect my mother, man.
Yeah.
But it's I get your point, man. But yeah, for me, like if I would say, if I would say to my mother I killed somebody, then she probably would say to me, yeah, you probably had a good reason for that.
Yeah. I mean, it all
uh,
depends on how you were raised. And unfortunately, especially in America, and it's not just America, this happens everywhere. Um, Children are not taken care of. We abuse our children here because people don't care, and they are abused because their parents were abused. And it's just a generational curse that continues itself. And it's a shame. And things can be done about it, but our country and the people who run it promote those things as normal. I remember, and I will never forget this, when I was about, I was probably even younger than that. I probably was around 10 or 11, maybe even 12 years old. I remember watching TV one day, and there was a special that came out way back on a channel called TLC, back when that was what the TLC actually was supposed to be called the Learning Channel, but it's not even remotely close to that now. I haven't even watched TV. I don't even know if they're still around. But they had a special on transsexuals, and it was the very first time I ever saw that in my life, and it was like, this is fucking insane. My mind was blown at that age. How, like, what the, you mean somebody is like, somebody is a man and they turned into a woman? I literally, in my young mind, I couldn't process the reasoning for that. I literally thought they turned into somebody else. It blew my mind. But they came out with that. And back then, if you ever brought something like that up, people would fucking throw you in a mental institution. You say you're going to chop your dick off and you're going to be a woman, they throw you in a mental institution. Nowadays, it's fucking celebrated. How far we have come, man. I mean, our country, this is what I'm saying to people. America is a wicked place. There's a lot of, it's good in the sense that if you want to be left, I mean, there are some positives, but as far as the population that has grown up here, the younger people specifically that have been put through the system and didn't make it out and didn't understand or able to break through the programming, their minds have been taken over by what they consider normal now. All these people that are trannies and all this kind of stuff, and she-males and transsexuals, it's all normal. There's organizations devoted to these people. 20 years ago and even before then, you either would have been beaten the hell up or you would have been thrown into a mental institution. And if you tell people that, you are under risk of getting arrested. That's how far we have gone down the tubes.
yeah, and like, yeah, a while ago, I saw some video on YouTube about children in America that are 7 or 8 years old, and their own parents teach them how to pole dance. Little children that are walking around at the catwalk with leather clothing and a red ball in their mouth. For me, that's disgusting. But the fucked up thing is, I gotta be careful what I'm saying, because just because of the fact that I see something sexual in that because it's with children, no, then I am the pervert. Then I am the pedophile. I mean, you get my point, right?
Yeah, it's a sick
So
world,
you
man.
also like, just because of the fact that you see something sexual in it and it's not normal because they are children. No, right now I am the pedophile. Yeah, you get my point, right? I mean,
Well,
that is
you know,
how far we are right now.
That's why a lot of people just, that's why a lot of people want to leave the country in America, um, because of how the politics in this country is going. It's out of control. I mean, it is just, it's mind boggling to me. I can't even fathom it. These people that are doing this to these children need to be executed. And way worse than executed, they need to be tortured and burned alive. Every one of
Yeah.
them. There's no way to stop. You cannot fix these people. I was watching a documentary the other night. Well, I've seen it before, but I was just kind of looking through some stuff. And there is a place where they send pedophiles in California where they go to, because they can't integrate in society. None of them can. They are completely ostracized from society. They are cast out. There's no place to take these people, because what they have found is that these people cannot be rehabilitated. They cannot. There's no way to fix these people. They are broken. They have what you would call in the Bible a reprobate mind. Their souls are gone. There's no fixing them. There's nowhere to take them, because if you put them in society, they're just going to go out and do it again. So the only thing to do with these people is to kill them. There's nothing else you can do with them. But they take these people and they throw them in a trailer park home, and they're all pedophiles that live there. I think it's called Pedophile Park.
I saw a clip of that. A group of pedophiles that are living in the same neighborhood, but
Yeah.
also here in the. Do you know what happens in the Netherlands? Like, let's say, uh, uh, they put a pedophile. They let them live in the same street where you have an elementary school. And they say, yeah, but that pedophile, yeah, he's gotta live somewhere. If he gotta live somewhere, then put that pedophile to your own fucking children, you know? And that is what I hate about those politics or those so-called social workers, you know? I mean, they don't think, why the fuck should you put a pedophile in the same street where you have an elementary school? And if you think that they gotta live somewhere, then put them with your own fucking children, you know?
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's crazy. But that, I don't know what to say. As far as I'm concerned, these people need to be executed.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do with them. And if you and all these people that are going in there that are, and it's so fucking insane, Ghost, how you can't even tell the truth anymore. You see some dude dressed up as a woman teaching children about fucking sexual things. They need to be beaten to death for what it's how far we've gone down.
Yeah, but like I said, you know, I think, yeah, children that are 7 or 8 years old that learning how to pole dance, for me that is not normal. Children that are 7 or 8 years old that are walking around at the catwalk in leather clothing with a red ball in their mouth, for me that is not normal. And but
No,
because
exactly.
if I say that, you know, I am the pedophile. I am the pervert. You know,
Yeah,
that
well,
is how
fuck them
far
all.
we are. And yeah, I think it's already too late, man.
All I got to say is that I'm armed and I'm ready to go. Any one of these fucking people want to give me problems over this shit, I'll
Yeah.
take care of it. I'm
Yeah,
not
but
playing games with these fucking people.
there are many subjects that I want to talk about. I have a lot of time. Is it okay if we take a 3-minute break?
Of course, yeah. Go have a smoke, and we'll take a
I
break.
gotta take a piss and I gotta smoke, man, because
Yeah, of course.
I don't smoke in my living room.
Yeah, of
Maybe
course.
maybe you can talk with with the chat box, but
Yeah, no problem. Yeah,
give me 3 or 4 minutes, brother.
yeah,
Hold
absolutely.
on.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, cool, man.
I appreciate everybody for joining today. Hope everybody's doing well. Father, no, it's good to see you. All Truth. I'm going to give some shout outs. Exiting the Matrix. Let's see who else we got here. Gitty Hilburn. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. I think it's Gitty. We have Donovan Jeremiah, Jerry Jeremiah. Welcome. Who else do we have here? Stone Reaper, how are you? Riggs Jr., hello. We have White Viper. I'm sorry if I didn't catch up later. I'm seeing that these messages are a bit behind. Red Pills are so good. We have him in the chat. Hello, Red Pills. Dark Dimensions 92, and Chronic Blast. Hope everybody is doing good and having a good Thanksgiving. We have Woke Boys. Hello, Woke Boys. Hello, Douglas Edwards. We have, I think that's Elo. I'll just say your name. I'll just call you Eli Youngblood. Hello, Eli Youngblood. And we have All Truth. Hope everybody's had a good Thanksgiving. I have to fucking work tomorrow. I can't believe it. Usually everyone's off the day after Thanksgiving, but I have to work. But you know what? It is what it is. I have off the weekend. I have a day off, so it's kind of a short week. Work this week has been absolute hell. We've been working our butts off. I wish I had tomorrow off. That would have been nice, but with my job, we have emergencies that come in and things that have to be done. We really can't take too much time off. So it is what it is. So I appreciate everybody for joining for Thanksgiving. How's everyone's Thanksgiving been? My Thanksgiving was okay. A little awkward, to be honest with you. Went over and saw some family. A little weird. Probably because I haven't been over in a long time, or in a while, I should say. And other personal reasons, which I won't get into regarding some family members. But, my previous video, I told you guys we need to try to not fight with people and stick together because we will be going through some hard times in this country. And we need to try to stick together, which is why I wanted to come out with a podcast and do this on Thanksgiving. And I appreciate Ghost for being my co-host here today and getting some videos out there. I enjoy doing the Thanksgiving podcast because I know there's people out there that don't have friends or family to go to on Thanksgiving. And, it's hard. What's up, poopy butthole? How's it going, man? I saw your videos, the poopy butthole. I've seen some of your videos, man. I like your stuff. I do. I think I know who you are. We've talked a long time ago. Long time ago. I think I know who you are. I'm glad you're still around, man. I'm still here and you're still here, if I think it. But Thanksgiving food is always really good. I do appreciate that. It's good to have that. You only get to have it like once a year. I only get to have it once a year, so for me it's really enjoyable, and I ain't cooking none of that shit. I ain't cooking. I'm not going to sit there and cook 17 different things. So that's why you go over to other people's houses that cook all that stuff. And it's nice. I went over there for a few hours and spent time with some family members. And then I went straight home because I had to do this podcast, and my family is not aware of my channel. So that's a secret. So I've always kept that on the down low. They haven't been aware of it in I don't know how many years that I've been doing this. It's just a little secret thing that we keep between ourselves.
Yeah, I'm back, man.
Awesome.
Yeah, but hey, bro, I don't understand because on YouTube I don't see my avatar. I don't know. It doesn't really matter, but yeah, strange, man.
That beats me, dude. I have never seen that before. I have no idea why it's doing that.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah, you talked about are you religious or not?
How do I even begin to mention that? So I'm not religious, meaning I don't go to church. No, I don't do that. Do I believe in a higher power? Yes, I do. But I do not abide by the doctrines of what the religious institutions have said what the higher power, creator, God, whatever you want to call it is. I don't abide by that because I've learned that a lot of that stuff is not very truthful as to what they've been telling us it is. Okay. But I do believe in a higher power.
Yeah, me myself, and I know, like, that is also one reason that I actually take distance from the manosphere. Like, yeah, hate me or love me, but I consider myself as a Muslim. And you would probably think, okay, Ghost, you call yourself a Muslim, but you also drink beer, so you're not a Muslim. I want to add something to that. I am not a good Muslim, and I am a Muslim that commits sins. I mean, let me put it this way: you have four different elements: religion, culture, nationality, and ethnic background slash race. When it comes to religion, I'm a Muslim. When it comes to culture, I am Western. When it comes to nationality, I'm Dutch. And when it comes to ethnic background, I am Indonesian. Those are four different aspects, and most people still do not understand the difference between those four things. And yeah, Element, you have a video where you talk about your mother, and you said that your mother is from South America. Correct me if I'm wrong.
That's correct.
But yeah, do you do yeah? If you don't have to tell me, but yeah, what country in South America?
Colombia.
So you are half Colombian.
That's correct. I am. I am half Hispanic. Uh-huh.
So, but uh, what kind of influences does that have on you as a person? Because your mother is Colombian. I mean, do you speak Spanish, or do people see you as a Latino? Yeah, yeah. Can you tell me something about that?
Well, hablas muy poquito español. I speak very little Spanish. I understand a lot of
Okay.
the Spanish. I was born in America. My mother's from Colombia, and my father's from America. So I did not grow up in Hispanic culture whatsoever, except for my mother's influences. My mother came here, and she's a citizen, and all that. Um, when I was when I before I was even born, but she wanted to leave the country and become an American citizen. So she tried to teach me a little bit of Spanish when I was much younger, but I had no interest. And she said, I want you, there's no reason for you to speak Spanish because you're not in South America. I don't know, her upbringing was very different than mine. So she wanted to come to America, and she met my father, and that's how that happened.
Yeah.
But most of her ideologies are she's extremely religious, very much so. And I have fought with my mother tooth and nail when I was younger. We have had some highly uh, volatile disagreements. I'll just put it at that.
Yeah, I think you all. I think from all MGTOW Red Bull content creators, as far as I know, I think you are the only one that made a video about your mother, man. I respect, man.
Well, when I made that video, I was coming into this community completely right off the bat with all of the frustrations and things I have never been able to get off my chest. And so I just went down the line and said, here's all the things that have bothered me, and I want to get it off my chest and maybe help others. And that was one of the things that had an influence because, of course, my mother's a woman. Now, as I have gotten older, I don't fight with my mother. My mother's old. She's getting older, and she has health problems. So when you get older, as much as you learn to agree to disagree. I don't have time to argue with people anymore because I work full time. I have my own issues of just trying to survive in this world. So I'm not going to sit there and argue with my mother over things that I disagree. We've over the years, it's just we have agreed to disagree. But I used to argue all the time with my mother over things when I was much younger. Like I wanted to go out with my friends and go see a rock concert. Well, she didn't like that because it's a rock concert and rock music's evil. So that kind of stuff pissed me off because I saw all my friends going out and getting to do all the things, and I said rock music isn't evil. Now that now that I get older, I understand what she was saying, and I agree with her to a lot of extent. but it's how she went about it that pissed me off. It was just cut me off and don't even try to let me live a life. And so there was this friction all the time. But as I've gotten older, me and my mother are fine. We get along fine. I speak to my mother regularly, and I do not talk to her about these things. I just make sure that my mother's taken care of. I do care about and love my mother, but it was only because I got older, and it was the realization that she has health problems, and that those health problems, she ain't going to be around forever. And I don't want to be one of these kind of people that when I get older, I never got the chance. I always hated my parents because when they're gone, they're gone. And I didn't want to be like that. I didn't want to hold a grudge for the rest of my life with my parents, specifically my mother. My father, I get along fine with my father. But my mother, I knew she was sick. She's been sick her whole life. And I didn't want to see her die with me holding a grudge, because it was more of a maturity thing, I think, realizing that, you know what, she grew up differently than I did. And I don't want to be angry at her for everything that I didn't agree with her on. So when I was much younger, I strongly hated my mother's belief system, but I understand now where she's coming from. So now that I've gotten older, and as my parents are getting older, they're not going to be around forever. And when they're gone, they're gone. And that's such a cliche thing to say, but it's very true, because now my situation is much different than other people's parents. Some people's parents were highly abusive to them and they never want to see them again. My mother was not abusive to me per se, but she was very strict in her belief system, to the point where it became a little much. And so I fought it. But like I said, as I've gotten older, I'm over it now, and I have a full-time job, and I'm a grown adult, and I live on my own, and I do my own thing. You grow up and you move on with your life. And as you get older, you realize that, my parents are going to die soon. They're not going to be around forever. And so I didn't want to I wanted to spend as much time with my parents as I could. I heard story after story after story of men and other people that wish they could have gone back and apologized for whatever the reason is. And I said, I want to have a good relationship with my parents, put my disagreements aside, and spend as much time with them and learn as much as I could, because I knew what the hell was coming to our country and our world as the years went on. So I didn't want to be one of those people that never got the chance to spend any time with my parents. My grandfather died several years ago, and I never spent enough time with him. And the things I could have learned from him, I wish I could have learned and I wish I could have spent more time with him. And so I didn't want to be like that. I didn't want it, because I knew that would eat me up inside if my parents passed away, or my mother or whatever, and I never got the chance to have a relationship with them as an adult. That's just me personally, but that's what I have to say about that.
Yeah, when it comes to my parents, I always say, my father is a MGTOW, but my mother is red pilled, and she also red pilled me. And yeah, maybe that is a different topic, but I always say, not every MGTOW is red pilled, and not every red pillar is MGTOW. Me myself, I consider myself as both. And when it comes to my father, my father is a piece of shit, and not because my mom said that. I experienced it myself. Try to imagine that you are 8 or 9 years old. You are so happy that you're gonna visit your dad. Your father, he gives you maybe $5 or $6 for the whole day, and he is gone. As a little child, I gotta do my own groceries. I gotta take care of myself. What kind of father are you? Like my mother, okay, she is a woman. Yeah, she is a single mother, but at least she was there for me. Like my mother, she taught me responsibility and discipline, you know? Like my father is what you consider when it comes to the manosphere a deadbeat dad. My father, he walks away from everything, including his own children. Like since last year, I have contact with one of my half sisters, and be, because I have contact now. Sorry, because I have contact now with my sister. Then suddenly, after 22 years, he loves me and he wants to see me. You know, and he can go fuck himself, man. My father is a piece of shit, man, and yeah, maybe that's a different subject, but that is actually what pisses me off about the manosphere. Always talking shit about single mothers. Yeah, every man that grew up with a single mother, he is a beta male. He is a simp. No, man. My mother red pilled me. I became MGTOW thanks to my mother. I became red pilled thanks to my mother. And like my mother is no different than every other woman because a Nawalt doesn't exist. But at least my mom was there for me and my father not. My father, he has 6 children with 4 different women, you know? So yeah, it's the way how you see it, man. I mean, like my father, he didn't teach me everything, you know. To try to imagine that you are living in the jungle and your father, he sends you to the jungle, and if you get eat up by lions or snakes, yeah, your father doesn't give a fuck about you, you know. So yeah, like I said,
Yeah.
my mother red pilled me, and my father is a MGTOW, but my father is a little bit too much MGTOW. He walks away from everything, including his own children. And like, not because my mom said that to me, I experienced that myself. Like I said, my father, he gave me 5 or 6 euros. I was 8 or 9 years old. He goes, I don't know where he goes, and I have to figure it out for myself the whole day. So yeah, fuck my
Yeah.
father. And people right now say to me, yeah, your mother, she lied about your father. Yo, bro, I experienced it myself. So like, yeah, even, like my mother, even though she's a single mother, like there is a difference between a single mother from the 90s, like my mother, and single mothers right now. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
don't like what is the reason that she became a single mother? And that is actually, and that is also one reason that I take a couple of steps back from the manosphere. Like when I watch a video about single mothers, when I read the comments, yeah, every man that grew up with a single mother is a beta box. Every man that grew up with a single mother is a simp. Like people know me and in the manosphere, and people know this, but just because of the fact that I am a MGTOW brother, nobody has the balls to say that stupid shit against me. So like from the beginning element, I consider myself as a polarizing and an alternative figure within MGTOW, and that is also a like actually your element. I am not even MGTOW. I am something different. I am not red pilled. I am something different. And like in the manosphere, there is no room for exceptions. There's no place for a different opinion. You know, like I
Yeah.
consider myself as an individual. I am a Muslim, but at the same time, I support Trump. Trump supporters don't want me because I'm a Muslim. Muslims, they hate me because I am a Trump supporter, you know? So I can put myself in 7 or 8 different boxes. At the end of the day, I am an individual. As a Muslim, other Muslims, they say to me, yeah, you should learn about imams. Imam is, uh, yeah, that is an example. Let me tell you this way. Every filthy fucking imam that says to me, yeah, you are a Muslim, you should get vaccinated. Fuck you, motherfucker. Fuck those imams, you know? Like they are not the Prophet Muhammad, peace upon him, you know.
Now, for
And
those who don't know,
I'd rather choose you, a non-Muslim, as my red pilled as my red pilled battle buddy. Like like the average Muslim, they are more blue pilled than the average non-Muslim. Like right now, element in the Arabic world, they are breeding cocks. You have no idea. Like other Muslims, they are my enemies, man. So yeah, sorry that I get so emotional and angry, but I am an individual, and at the end of the day, it is me against everybody.
Well, for those people who don't know, what is an imam?
And an imam, that is a little bit the same like a priest for a Christian. That
Okay.
is somebody. That is somebody that has a lot of knowledge about Islam. Actually, it is a Islamic mentor. You can consider them as a teacher.
Okay. I understand. Okay.
But like I can, when it comes to religion, I can learn a lot of things from them. But if you are an imam and if you claim that I am your Muslim brother and you say to me, yeah, you should get that vaccine, a fuck you, you filthy. Like for me, then you are a kafir, a non-Muslim. If you believe that, like as like it doesn't matter if you are a Muslim or a Christian or a Buddha or a Jew. As a religious person, God is the higher power and not society and not politician. And that is the like most Muslims are not Muslims. Most Christians are not Christians. And yeah, yeah. Sorry that I get so emotional, but bro, that pisses me off, man. Like I am alone, element. It's me versus everybody.
No, that's fine. I mean, I understand. I mean, in our situation, we are on our own. There is no one, and it doesn't matter if you're religious. It doesn't matter if you are MGTOW. It doesn't matter if you are um, a conspiracy theorist. Whatever title you want to put to yourself, or you think that you are, it doesn't matter. We are all uh, really against the whole thing, because there is no one coming to our aid except ourselves and the very few people potentially that are going to be by our side to help us, our friends, and potentially very few, but family members, because we are it's us against the world, and that is how it is for real. The government's not on our side. Um, a lot of the corporations or places that you work are definitely not on your side. They are there for the money, and that is it. So there's nowhere for us to go. We are survivors in this thing at the moment, trying to survive. And that is how it is. So all we have is ourselves and the very few people there that are either with us or against us, in some capacity or another. We are all on our own in this thing. And that's why I make these videos and I try to help others, because I know what it's like. I know what it feels like to be on your own and there's no one to turn to. It's been like that most of my life. And I've had to grow up and be very strong mentally to deal with that. And I've learned to cope in my own ways with that. And it's hard. It's not easy.
Yeah, it is
Um,
definitely not easy. Like like other Muslims, they are my enemies. Other men, they are my enemies. Other people with an Indonesian background, they are my enemies. Other people in the Netherlands, they are my enemies. I am alone. I want to answer some questions. Eric E. He says, "Where in Europe do you live?" Goes, "I'm from the Netherlands." Kojin Master, you circumcised? Yeah, I'm circumcised, man. But like
I was about to ban him just for a second, but I'm like, I ain't gonna worry about it.
yeah, yeah, no worries, man. I don't take it personally, but like I said, element, like Muslims, they say to me like, you are a Muslim yourself. How can you support Trump? But then I ask them like, what did Trump did wrong to Muslims? Yeah, he is a racist, this and that. Okay, why is he against Muslims? Yeah, there are about thousand reasons. Okay, give me one. They don't know the answer. uh like if I ask Trump supporters, okay, they say to me, yeah, you are a Muslim, you don't supposed to be a Trump supporter. Why? Yeah, you are trying to take over my country. What the fuck are you talking about, your country? Hey, yo, I was born here, man. What the fuck are you talking about, man? So yeah,
Yeah.
it's yeah, it's and that is the reason I stay away from people, man. It's like and like I said, Element, like yeah, you are not a Muslim, but I rather choose you, a non-Muslim, as my red pilled battle body, instead of those Muslims. Like they are blue pilled as fuck, man. They like I always say the biggest enemy of Islam are the Muslims. Trump is not your enemy. The right wing is not your enemy. White supremacists are not your enemy. Like right now, you can say to me, "Hey, Garuda Ghost, you are a filthy fucking Muslim pig." Yo, bro, you are not my enemy, man. Yeah, fuck it, man. And yeah, sorry I
Yeah.
go too deep in this, man. But yeah, yeah, for me it's also not easy. Element. I am alone, man. I am fuck everybody, man. It's me against the world, man.
Well, it is, and it's us against the world, and that's just how it is. It's a tough environment that we're in. We have a lot going against us. There's nobody really there for our side, and we have to do the best we can. Um, Let me see here. I'm just looking at the topics. One of the other things that you talked about was criminal activities. How about we go into that? So what is your thoughts on that?
Yeah, when it comes to criminal activities, uh, yeah, it is based yeah, I don't know what it is in the United States, but let's say here in the Netherlands, like if you do something wrong, yeah, I don't know the English word, but if you did something wrong, sometimes you don't have to go to jail, but then you have to work somewhere without getting paid. Or you also have that in America.
Kind of. We
I
have.
don't I do not know the English word, but if I would translate it in English, in the Netherlands we call that a working punishment. So let's say you do not have to go to jail, but you have to work somewhere without getting paid.
Yeah, we have something like that. It's called community service, depending on the crime.
Okay.
If it's a small crime that isn't a like felony, or something small like a misdemeanor, um, then you can go, if the option is available, you go serve what they call community service, and I don't think they pay for that. I mean, I've never had to do that before, but
Yeah,
you will go have to.
yeah, one time I had yeah, a working punishment for that was about 80 hours, you know, and like I've never been in jail, but a working punishment is already fucked up. Like, try to imagine that you have to go 10 Saturdays in a row working eight. Like, that is fucked up, man. But I think it's better than jail, man, because
It is.
like here in the Netherlands, we are all familiar with documentaries about American prison that you have to join a gang, you get ass raped. Like that is not the case in the Netherlands. And people always claim like, yeah, a prison in the Netherlands that is like a hotel, but that's bullshit because it's still a fucked up place. And but yeah, when it yeah, coming back to the subject, criminal activities, do you know how many often I see people steal something from a grocery store because they don't have money? I Some of my coworkers, they are selling drugs. One time, yeah, I punched somebody and I just ran away. Uh, yeah, maybe that person just died from his injuries. I don't know, man. Like that is what I actually mean with like I am not a criminal because I never been in trouble with police, but yeah, I got away with it. Let me tell you this way, man. Like I have like I consider myself as a criminal without a record. Police doesn't know me, but that doesn't mean I cannot be a criminal. Deep inside, we all can be criminals if the shit goes down and the heat is around the corner. What is your opinion about that? I mean, did you ever stole something because you didn't have money? did you ever beat somebody up because he said something that offended you? What is your perspective about that?
Well, I've never done anything like that before. I've never beat people up or stole anything before. I think when I was like, I think when I was like 7 or 8 years old, I took a packet of off the grocery store. I took a packet of Kool-Aid mix because it was sitting there, and I wanted to see if I could get away with it. When I was like 7 years old.
Yeah, that's a good point. Getting away with it. When I was at high school, while we had lunch break, we went to the supermarket and we steal like cans of Red Bull, chocolate candy bars, potato chips. Not because we didn't have money, but just to like, can you get away with it? And yeah, one of the subjects that I mentioned to you is addiction. Like, do you have any idea how addictive stealing is? Because at some certain moment you think like yourself, if I manage to steal this, then why the fuck should I pay for it? Until you got caught, of course. So, and when it comes to criminal activities, one time I punched somebody in the face. I went to an event and I came back from the toilet, and like, I am half Asian, and he said something to me, yeah, hey, yo, Jackie Chan, you're standing in my way, because I'm Asian. And then I said to him, like, "Hey, yo, bro, relax, man. What is the problem? Hey, yeah, go eat some rice. Go eat some dog meat." Like, I can take a joke, and I would never consider somebody racist because of his opinion. But hey, yo, bro, I don't take that shit. What he said to me, that's the same when you call a black person a nigger. You know, when you tell an Asian guy a chink. Like, I don't take that shit. So I punched him in the face a couple of times. But actually, my point is, I am not a violent person unless you are forcing me. I would never steal. Like, I have money, so I don't steal. But if I didn't have the money, hey bro, I'm gonna steal out of a grocery store. So, coming back to my point, criminal activities, it is not a choice. It is, you gotta do it to survive and to stand up for yourself. Yeah, what is your opinion about that?
Well, I mean, I agree with that. I mean, our society now is so dysfunctional because back in the Western times, back in the Western times, that's all I can say. Back in, I don't even know I can't point a time period off the top of my head. But back when the cowboys and Indians were around, that shows you how bad our history is here, how fucked up it is that I can't remember that. But they would carry guns on their hips. If somebody had a problem, you were in the street, and whoever shot who first won, and that was that. So nobody fucked with anybody because they didn't want to get shot. But our society punishes people for standing up for themselves. So I do not disagree with that. I mean, somebody calls you names like that,
Yeah,
you
Jackie
do
Chan.
stand up for yourself because it's uncalled for. I mean, you don't go around telling people that. It's inappropriate and it's stupid, and you're going to get hurt. But our society scares people for standing up for themselves because they say, "Well, you hit that guy, you're going to jail for assault, and that's on your record forever. You'll never be able to get a job because you stood up for somebody assaulting you verbally over something that had none of their fucking business." Back in the day, that none of that stuff was tolerated because you get shot in the head for saying something like that to somebody. How far we have come. You know, our justice system in the United States and probably the rest of the world is so ass backwards it makes me sick. You know, if the things that they have, and it's all done by design, all of it, because they knew if they instituted the idea that if you stand up for yourself, you're going to jail. People don't do it because they don't want to go to jail. They have jobs, bills to pay, etc. So people just let it happen. And the criminals who do this stuff get away with it, and they let them get away with it And they keep doing it, and the people that work and have to pay their bills and go to work every single day have to take the brunt of the abuse. And that is how fucked up the system is. And if things were different in this world, then none of that stuff would be happening because people would get their ass kicked into oblivion. They'd get thrown under the railroad tracks. But in America, the only thing that is keeping the systems of government from pushing the limit any further is that we have guns and the rest of the country doesn't. And they know that that is the only thing keeping them away from us, from them taking everything. In Canada, they just banned the sale of handguns. What do you think is going to happen to them? It's going to get terrible for them. The crime is going to go out of the roof, and all the criminals are going to take the guns because they don't abide by the law anyway. So they don't care. So all the civilians and the hardworking people that are just trying to survive and be left alone are going to pay for it because of that. So in America, depending on what state you live in, I live in a state where guns are as common as filling up your car with gas. Everybody here has a gun. Everybody. You come to our house and you give me problems, you're going to die. Period. And you come in here trying to threaten me with threaten my life, and in self-defense, I have to defend myself. It ain't going to end well for you. I promise you it won't. Because my neighbors have guns, I have guns, and so does everybody else in the neighborhood. So that is the only thing keeping the corruption away from us. And I'll tell you this, a lot of the people, because I've met tons of people from all over the place, when you mention to them Americans have guns, they say, oh yeah, Americans shoot up everybody. That's not true. Those are the criminals who do that. Everybody that I have ever known that are legally rightful firearm owners are the nicest people I have ever met in my life.
Yeah, but
Because
that's
they
the
know.
same here in the Netherlands. Like, I know people that have been to jail. I know people that are criminals, but like, if you didn't know them, they are one of the most nicest people in this world. You know, like I a couple of years ago, let's say I have a friend and he has a friend. Uh, he is a murderer. You know. Uh, uh, Somebody raped his daughter and he killed him, you know. So for me, he is not a murderer, he is not a killer. He did what he had to do. And yeah, maybe
Yeah.
that's another subject. It like, I think in the United States that's different, but here in the Netherlands, it doesn't fucking matter who you kill, you will be free, you know. Like that guy that killed the rapist of his daughter, 3 years and 1 month.
Well, that's here in America. If you kill anybody here in America, you're going to prison, period.
Yeah, but yeah, maybe life sentence. And like in the Netherlands, like, let's say the punishment is pretty low. And like I said, it doesn't matter who you kill, there comes a day you will get out. But in America, there is a chance that you never will be free. So
That's
let's
true.
say the punishment in the Netherlands is really low.
Yeah, that's true. Now, there are certain circumstances where it's called self-defense, and you won't go to jail for that if it's a rightful self-defense situation. I don't carry here in my state, um, and many other states in the United States. There is a license that you can have, and actually, in my state, you don't even have to have a license. You can just carry a gun wherever you want. But I don't do that because the liability of having to shoot somebody else in self-defense will wind me up in a courtroom, and you don't want to play Russian roulette with the courtroom. I don't want to have to do that. Now, if you come to my house where I live, I have security cameras. I know who comes in and out of this neighborhood. I know every single car. I know who drives what. I know when they come into my neighborhood. I know it all. And you come to my house, not only do I have you on camera of you breaking and entering, But under the law of my state, if somebody breaks and enters into your home, at that moment you have the right to shoot them. Now, should you do it? Probably not, because if you shoot somebody and they're unarmed, you go to jail. But they'll break it. But under the law, it's very, very, very touchy. So if they break into your house here, it is a felony. And right then and there, I have justifiable use to use deadly force at that moment. Right then and there, even if they're not even armed with a deadly weapon. Now, you can do that, but if you go to court, which you will have to go to court, and they see that that person was unarmed, they could accuse you of unrightful discharge of a weapon and murder. But if they break into your house with a gun or a deadly weapon, that's a felony, and they have a deadly weapon, then it's a clean shoot. That means that they come in there, they have the intent to cause great bodily harm or injury or death. You kill them, you shoot them for self-defense reasons. Most of them, you'll be out and everything's fine. And I have it on video, so there is no way for them to say otherwise. That somebody broke, I have one in my back door and I have one in my front door. And the way my neighborhood and my house is set up within my neighborhood, there's no way that it can be an accident that someone is trying to break into my house. I'll just leave it at that, the way everything's set up. So I have you on footage breaking in. I also have certain cameras inside my house that are aimed at my doors to prove what goes on the inside of my house in case that ever happens. So if somebody comes into my house, you're going to have a real bad day. And
damn, hey, yo, bro, you are prepared, man.
well, it's learning things over the years that I've learned from other people that have been in the situations before, that they have advised me to do these things, because everything's caught on camera. I've got you caught on breaking into my house. I've got you on camera before you even pull up to my driveway. And I also have you on camera when you break into my house and everything that I have to do in case that happens. So there is no questions asked. And that's how it works. Now, if you were to do that in another state like California or New York, good luck to you, man. You're probably going to go to prison for the rest of your life. They don't like guns in those states. Where I live, guns are a cultural thing. If you don't have a gun, people down here look at you like you're crazy. If you don't own a gun, people down here look at you like you're nuts. That's just how it is, and that's why I like it, because it's a pro-gun state. But the laws are very touchy, because even if I live in a pro-gun state, I still don't want to go out and have to shoot somebody, because if I'm out in public and somebody pulls a gun on me and I'm in the middle of nowhere, which I never am, that's the first rule. You don't go places you shouldn't go, which I don't. I go straight to work and straight back home. That's it. Second of all, if I'm in a convenience store and somebody pulls a gun out on somebody and I have to shoot them, if I shoot them and they're not pointing the gun at me, that could be proven as a murder, because they did not technically point the gun at me. My life technically was not in jeopardy. It's a very fine line, dude. That's why I don't like to carry guns, because what happens if I shoot that guy and there's two people behind him and I hit them? The store will sue me. The family members might die. I go to prison. Some kid gets hit by a stray bullet and all hell breaks loose because I try to defend myself.
Yeah.
But if you do that in my house, I have every single thing proven otherwise to show that you are not supposed to be here. You are committing a felony with a deadly weapon, and you broke into my house, and I have it all on camera. I have, under everything covered there for the most part that I'm aware of, I have the right to use a firearm at that moment, and it's all caught on camera. But if you go to a store, they could say, well, you're not allowed to have guns in here, so that's against the law. You broke the law there. You hit some civilian because the bullet went through him because of the rounds that you were carrying. He didn't point the gun at you, so technically that's against the law too. There's so much liability when it comes down to carrying a gun in public that people don't understand. Now, I know tons of people that don't care. But I don't want to spend the rest of my life in prison because I had to defend my life. But if you come to my house, there is no questions asked. You come here with a deadly weapon or a gun and you break into my house, you're asking for problems, I assure you.
Yeah.
And there's no, and so they can't prove it because under my law, there's something called the Castle Doctrine law that I have the legal right because you were caught on camera in my house breaking and entering, which is a felony, and you have a gun. I have the right to defend myself with deadly force, no questions asked. So I have everything in my favor because my house is my personal property. When I go out in public, it's a whole nother story.
Yeah. Hey, one
So,
thing, man. I'm gonna. I don't know. I'm trying to get my avatar back. I'm gonna leave. Can you add me again?
yeah, go ahead. I'll the
Okay.
link should be the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
so
Wait.
just leave and then come back.
I'll leave now. Hold on a minute.
Okay, go ahead. But that's the thing about that. That's why I don't carry a permit because the liability is so high with doing that. And the way that I avoid dealing with that is, number one, you don't need to go places you shouldn't go. You don't need to be going into the ghetto at 10 or 11 o'clock at night. There's no reason to be there. Now, I understand that there are certain places that, you have to go to work and it's dangerous. I understand that. But you just have to be aware it's a liability no matter where you live. And I just don't want to take that chance because it's not fair. And the police have to deal with this too. You see this in the news everywhere you go. The police get thrown in jail because they're doing their job. So, I see tons of these police shooting videos. I've seen tons of them where, somebody ends up going to prison. A police officer gets wrongfully accused or something, and they spend the rest of their life in prison for doing their job because some dude tried to pull out a bat and beat a fucking person to death with it, and they shot him, and because, whatever.
Yeah.
It's
True.
crazy.
Yeah. By the way, yeah, I still don't see my avatar. So fuck it, man. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't
know what's going
understand
on.
why. Because like right now with you, I can see my avatar, but not on YouTube. But yeah,
Yeah,
strange,
I
man.
don't know. I
Yeah,
don't know
yeah,
what's going on.
yeah. Fuck it. It doesn't really matter. But I get your point, man. And but like always think about the consequences. I mean, like like sometimes I have a feeling, I am so angry and I hate that person so much. I want him dead, but is it really worth it to spend your whole life in prison only because somebody fucked up your day? It's not worth it, man. And like me myself, I've never been in jail, but try to imagine, let's say your mother is sick, you cannot get out. I think that idea is even worse than actually being in jail. Like the idea that you cannot get out if something happens with one of your family members or what. And like I said before, that working punishment that was about 80 hours, 10 Saturdays in a row, but at least I could go home after that day. So yeah, prison, yeah, better not, man.
I'll tell you a story off air about that. But yeah, I mean, it's just you have to be careful. We don't live in the same world that we used to, and it's not right. And as far as I'm concerned, everybody should be armed. And, you know, people need to watch their backs. There will be more criminality because people are going to get more desperate because of the way that our economy is going. And let me ask you this, Ghost. How is the economy in the Netherlands?
Uh, yeah, what do you mean? Do you mean when it comes to work or inflation or
Yeah,
uh,
do you guys have inflation there, or how
yeah, yeah,
are
yeah,
the
yeah? We
you
have
do?
inflation, man. Let's say 1 year ago you paid about 90 euro cents for a half bread. Now you pay about 125 for a half bread. One year ago you paid about €1 and 90 cents for 6 eggs, and now you pay about €2 and 80 cents for 6 eggs. So yeah, everything became so expensive. And but when it comes to job, uh, every company, they really need people, because of that coronavirus, a lot of people lost their job. But I think also because of that war in Ukraine, everybody forgot about it. So yeah, everywhere they need people. So when it comes to finding a job, that is not a problem in the Netherlands. But when it comes to, everything is so expensive right now, man. Damn.
How much does meat, like say for example, a steak cost in the Netherlands in euros? And I'll try to translate that over to American dollars.
Uh, yeah, a steak. Yeah, I never eat steak. No, let me tell you this way. Let's say, uh, let me think for a couple of seconds, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because here things are very expensive. I mean, steak and meats here have gone up exponentially because of inflation. I mean, like a pound of hamburger beef is like anywhere between $5 and $8 a pound, which is see. Let me do the let me see here. Euro to USD. Let's see here.
Let's see. Let me put it this way. Let's say, uh, one kilo of beef. One kilo. That is about. Let's see. Uh, uh,
It'd be 2 pounds of 2 pounds. 1 kilo is 2 pounds.
1 kilo is 2 pounds.
Yep.
Let's see. Yeah, I have to use translation, man. Hold on, man.
Oh, you're fine. So basically, you're looking at 769 euro for a pound of hamburger beef here. If you're getting like 93% lean, which
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah. Something like that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and that's how it is. It used to be like $5,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
which
But
would be like
I
480
don't.
euro.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how many is $1 and €1.
That would be $1 in euros would be zero
Not yeah,
96 cents.
96 cents right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy because like I remember the first time that I went to the United States. That was in, I think, September 2014, New York. Let's say for €100, I got about $141. And right now for for €100, you get only $96. So
Yeah,
that's a big difference.
it
That's a
is.
big difference, man. But I
For
wanna
like,
I wanna answer one question in the chat. It's from Father No. He said, "Yeah, Ghost. You should have asked him if he had a big healthy dog and a bottle of hot sauce and called him a motherfucker." Yeah, yeah. Coming back to that topic, like I would never call somebody a racist if he like, I'm gonna get like, if you would say to me, yo, hey, yo, it's Garuda Ghost, that fucking Indonesian guy from the Netherlands, that Muslim that is drinking beer. I can take a joke, man, but don't call me a chink. Don't say to me, hey, you should eat more rice, or yo, bro, I don't take that shit, man. Like
you
I
should.
can take a joke, but there are definitely limits. Like for me, when it comes to black people, with black people, I can say to a black person like, hey, yo, we have an appointment tomorrow, but just because of the fact that you are black, I wouldn't be surprised if you show up 1 hour late. That is just a joke. But actually calling a black guy a nigger, like, bro, there are limits. I think there is a difference between making a joke about somebody's culture or actually being racist. There are limits,
Yeah,
if
of
you know what
course,
I mean.
of course. And I think the
I can
problem
take
is,
a joke, but don't call me a chink or a dog eater, bro. I don't take that shit, man. There are limits, and like me myself, I am half white. My mother is white, Caucasian. just because of the fact that I am half white, that doesn't give me the right to be racist about white people. One of my female co-workers, she is white and her boyfriend is black, but that doesn't give her the right to use the word nigger. I mean, there are limits. You know,
Yeah. Well, people here don't know how to take a joke. They really don't,
but if
because
if you would say to me, "Hey, yo, Garuda, that fucking Indonesian guy from the Netherlands, that Muslim that is drinking beer, yo, bro, hey, no problem, man." But yeah, there are limits, man.
yeah. Well, people don't know how to take a joke
Yeah,
anymore. They've ruined everything. That's all I can say. The people
and
that
I
run
and
this
I
place have
also
ruined
think
everything.
like there is a difference between having an opinion about a certain type of culture or being racist. There's a that like if you would say to me like yeah, Indonesian people are yeah smaller than white people. That is just a fact. But yeah, like there are limits, man. But yeah, when it comes to racism, like everybody on this planet can be a racist, because when it comes to racism, people always blame white people or Caucasian people, but you don't have to be white to be a racist. I also know black people that are racist against white people. I know Muslims. They always talk shit about, yeah, we Muslims, we are getting discriminated. Uh, the way how they talk about non-Muslims, they should be embarrassed by themselves. So, and that is a problem. It doesn't matter who you are or where you come from. Be careful what you are saying. I mean, because like when I was in the United States, uh, what I was at a restaurant, and I think 90% of the people there, they were black, and I was just eating there. Some white guy comes in. That white guy, he is really friendly. He just saying hello. Those black people, they look at that white guy like he is a piece of shit. But those same black people, they are complaining about racism. And like I said before, you don't have to be white to be a racist, because we are all people, and at the end of the day we are all racist. I'm also a racist.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's just things have been so misconstrued in this country that people are just at each other's throats over everything because they believe all the garbage that they're fed. They don't use their critical thinking. And when that happens, I'm sitting here in my room here, and oh my god, there's a commercial called, this is the website, it's called forher.com, and it is a freaking app that you can go on there and check off all these lists of things of conditions that you have, like, oh, I'm depressed, I have anxiety, and all this other stuff, and they'll just send you medication, and you should see the person that they have as the actor
Yeah, yeah,
for the
I get your
commercial.
point, man.
She's a fat piece of shit,
Yeah.
big old fat bitch, and it's like, oh my god. So, I mean, this is why I'm armed. This is why I'm telling people to get prepared, because we're fucked. I mean, this is
Yeah,
insane.
but actually, yeah, another topic that I mentioned, yeah, fucked up family members. Can you tell me something about that?
Uh, Let me think. Um,
Yeah, or should I go first?
well, I'm trying to think, because personally for me, I have not, in my personal family, I don't really have any fucked up family members. I really don't. Like, I don't have any family members that are on drugs or anything like that.
Okay. Let
But
me go first. Let me go first. Like, I have two. I got my Indonesian family, and I got my yeah, Dutch Caucasian family. My mother's side. When it comes to, yeah, let's say my white family, I got one aunt and uncle. They are pro LGBTQ. They always go to the gay parade. My uncle is a cuckold. My aunt, she is working at a grocery store. She cheated with a guy that is younger than me, and my uncle, he is okay with it. For me, that is what you consider as fucked up family members, you know. Another uncle of mine, he goes to kinky parties, dressed within rubber or yeah leather boots, yeah. Like actually, yeah, it is because of he's my uncle, but actually, yeah, I don't want nothing to do with him, you know. Uh, I have a niece. She is 19. She is almost a whore, almost. And you would probably think, hey yo, Garuda, why you don't talk about that about your family? Hey yo, it is the truth, and that is not my fault. So that is actually my perspective about fucked up family members. And like it is not about that they did something wrong to me, but like I said, an aunt and an uncle that are pro gay, an uncle that goes to kinky parties, a little niece that is almost a whore. Like they did not done something wrong to me, but yeah, I don't want anything to do with them. That is actually my understanding of yeah fucked up family members. So yeah, what is your perspective about that?
Well, I'd say, yeah, that's definitely a very dysfunctional family.
Yeah,
I don't have any of that in my family, thankfully, but I mean, that's not to say we haven't had problems in my family. There's no question about it that we've had our fair share of problems, but nothing like that, not that I'm aware of. Um, but yeah, I mean, the dysfunction in this amongst other family members is something that it's almost like it's like a commonality. It's like, oh, how fucked up is your family? Like it's a bragging right of how fucked up somebody else can be. And I think that's a shame, that
yeah, but like my family members, they are also dumb, you know. Like the first time I went to Indonesia, like my father is from Indonesia. I'm mixed race. I always call myself Indonesian, but that's actually bullshit. My ethnic background is half Indonesian. But yeah, anyway, they asked me, why would you go to Indonesia? What are you looking there for? What the fuck am I doing there? Maybe my father is from there. Maybe that is my ethnic. Like, why are you going to Indonesia? Like, bro, what kind of dumb question is that? That is how stupid my family members are. I mean, if you would said to me like, you know, like Element, even though you grew up in the United States, if you would said to me like, you know, I'm going to Colombia because my mother is from there, yo, bro, I understand you. Like, so what kind of yeah? Why are you going to Indonesia? Because maybe my father is from there. What kind of dumb question is that? Man? Hey, fuck my family, man.
yeah.
Fuck. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry that I get pissed off, man. But
Well, no, it's understandable. I
uh,
mean, it's understandable. I mean, there's a lot of
that
dysfunction.
is how dumb they are, man.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of dysfunction in the country and in the world. I mean, people are stupid. I mean, there's no question. Not everyone is you know, very intelligent, and you have to do the best you can to try to deal with that, I guess. But I have met several, people in my life that have extremely dysfunctional families. And I look at them like, oh my God, I don't even know how in the world that it's possible that you people, are still here, and dysfunctional families, I think, are a big result of the way people grew up. When you grow up poor without money and all of that, you're going to get exposed to things that either you carry on with the rest of your life and that turns you into the person that you are today. I've seen things that have happened in my life with family members that I never went through, because I learned that that's something that I shouldn't do. But some people, they don't learn that, or it just becomes of how their minds get rewired, and they carry that dysfunction over into their personal lives, and it never ends. And it's one generation after another, and the cycle sometimes never gets broken. And you got one family member who does drugs all the time, and then they have children, and then they see their children see them doing drugs, or and by proxy that stuff lays around. The kids get into it, then they get addicted by proxy, and it never ends. I mean,
When it comes to drugs, I will be honest to you. About 2 years ago, at the beginning of that coronavirus, I was addicted to cocaine for a couple of weeks. I think almost 2 months, But when it comes to drugs, I wouldn't recommend it to nobody. But if you need that to not lose your own yo, bro, drink a couple of beers, smoke some marijuana, sniff some cocaine. Like, do you know what it is with alcohol and drugs? It destroys lives, but once in a while, it also can save your life. But it also depends on what kind of drugs. I mean, my experience, alcohol, marijuana, cocaine, LSD, ecstasy. Try it if you want, but my advice is never use heroin, never use crystal meth, never use flakka, or like
oh yeah,
the
that shit will kill
what
you.
I've heard, when it like cocaine, it is addicted and it is dangerous, but you become addicted to cocaine after maybe after the seventh or eighth time, you become addicted to alcohol after the 10th or 12th time. You become addicted to marijuana after the 15th or 16th time. But use heroin one time, you are addicted. Use crystal meth one time, you are already addicted. You use flakka one time, you are already addicted. So, yeah, like I said, it depends on what kind of drugs. Alcohol, marijuana, cocaine, ecstasy, LSD. Just fucking do it if you need it, but no crystal meth, no heroin, no flakka. Yeah. What is your opinion about that element? Did you ever experience it? Sorry, experimented. Yeah, sorry for my fucked up English, guys.
No, that's
What is
fine.
your opinion or your experiences with drugs or alcohol? Can you tell me something about that?
Well, I've never done hard drugs. I was addicted to marijuana for a long time, um, but I never took pills because I knew better. I've seen tons of people that have been addicted to that stuff, and it destroys their life. They end up homeless. Um, they lose their children. They lose their relatives. They lose their family. They go bankrupt because they get so addicted to this shit, and it kills them. They overdose and they can die, and they snort that shit and it kills them. So I've never done hard drugs, never done cocaine, never done pills. The only thing I've ever touched is alcohol and weed. That is it. But I'll tell you, I mean, I don't recommend you do any of it because it's not good for you. But I understand why people do it
Yeah,
because
I
life
think
is
I
hard.
think you better can be addicted to drugs and go to a clinic, and after 2 or 3 years it's better with you. Like for me, committing suicide is not an option. Uh, if you have suicidal thoughts, drugs and alcohol can really save your life. And like I said, I wouldn't recommend it to nobody, but if you actually need it to not kill, yo, bro, drink a couple of beers, smoke some weed, sniff some cocaine, man. It also can save you. And yeah, that is actually cocaine saved my life, marijuana saved my life, alcohol saved my life.
Well, I mean, I definitely understand where you're coming from because I mean, I've done it before and I understand what it is. I understand why people do it because life is hard. And sometimes the things that you go through are so horrible that you want to escape reality because every single person in this world is trying to figure out how to escape this place. We watch movies, TV shows, we drink, people do drugs, they have promiscuous sex. They're trying to escape the suffering of this realm. So I understand why people do drugs and they get drunk and they go out and do all these things. I understand because it's fucking hard here. This is not a nice place to be. You have to work to survive, and whatever cards that you were dealt with here is what you're dealt with, and that's how it is.
Yeah.
So I don't blame people for wanting to do drugs, get high, and get fucked up. I understand why people do it because it fucking sucks living here. I mean, I have to work for a living, and so does everybody else. You know, some days I go home and I'm exhausted. I'm in pain and my body hurts. I understand. But the other side of it, and I'll just tell you this, like even with weed, it's a hell of a lot less dangerous than taking heroin, that's for sure. But that shit will stay in your system for months. If you lose your job and you want to go get a better job, they're going to drug test you. And even if you live in a state that is pro marijuana, unless you want to go make chump change working at McDonald's, which ain't going to pay your bills, and it's not certainly not going to give you a livable wage. And I have worked in warehouse facilities where they don't drug test. You don't want to work around people that are doing drugs because they don't give a fuck. And that shit will stay in your system, even weed. I know this because I've been through it. That shit will stay in your system for a long time.
Yeah,
So what happens if
the
you
thing is though, I
lose your
want to ask
job?
something about that because like in general, cocaine is more addictive than marijuana. And right now I'm speaking about my own experiences. Like cocaine is more addicted than marijuana, but actually stopping cocaine is way more easy than stopping marijuana. So at the end of the day, you can say that actually marijuana is more addictive. I want to answer some questions in the chat box. Father No, Ghost, I got a question for you. You are brutally honest, and I don't really have a filter, and I like it. Are people in the Netherlands like you, or is your personality uncommon? It's pretty uncommon, man. But you know what it is, Father No. I can have a good conversation with everybody. I always use some humor, some jokes in it. So like people do not understand me, but they listen to me and they accept me, and I appreciate that. Even my blue pilled coworkers, even though they are blue pilled as fucked, they are good coworkers. They always ask me, "Hey, yo, Garuda, we're gonna drink a beer. You wanna come with us?" And I appreciate that. And yeah, that is making me happy. We have a guy here. He calls himself a last real one. Yeah, I assume you are talking about me. He should finish school. He's ignorant. I'm just being real. Element making sense, but the guest lost. Yeah, last real alone. Yeah, it's. I don't know if you're talking about me, but yeah, if you are having a problem with me, can you please explain to me? Yeah, my English is not really good, but can you clarify it? Yeah, do you have a problem with me or not? Let me
Well,
know, man.
it doesn't matter if he's got a problem with you or not. I mean, this is my channel. If he doesn't like it, he can go fuck himself.
Yeah.
But
It's yeah, but okay, you have a problem with me. Yeah, last real one. I don't give a fuck who you are. I don't give a fuck where you come from. If you don't like me, like you don't have to listen to this podcast, man. Uh, you are welcome, but I cannot give you the feeling that you are welcome. So yeah, happy Thanksgiving, man.
well, going back to the point, I mean,
Yeah,
I think even like I was saying, even with weed, it's just something to understand because I used to be a big pothead back in the day. You know, unless you want to go and make chump change, because you're not going to get a good paying job smoking pot. You're just not. They're going to drug test you for the good paying jobs. And if you lose your job or you get laid off or you get fired, you're looking at 3 months before you get sober off of that stuff if you're a heavy user. So what are you going to do for
true.
three
Yeah,
months? You're going to go work at McDonald's and make $12.50 an hour? So that's my point is that, yeah, I mean, if you want to go do drugs, go ahead. I mean, it's your life. But the reason why I stopped all that is because I didn't want to be poor. I didn't want to sit there and work at McDonald's with a bunch of other drug users, potentially, or criminals or whoever, and have to work. I've worked around these people. They are terrible. They don't care about you. They don't care about your job. And they certainly don't care if you're a hard worker, and they are lazier than hell. They don't give a shit about you. You don't want to work around people like
Element, I do not really agree with you on that because, like, uh, when I first started working at this company, uh, I was in a like in night shift. I used cocaine, but I am there for my coworkers, and that is the reason I still work there after 12 years. So I mean, like, I can be high on cocaine or marijuana. If you are my coworker, I help you, and because I help you, you can go home 1 or 2 hours earlier. So yeah, maybe that is your experiences, but yeah, respectfully, yo, bro, I do not agree with you on that, man.
well, that's fine. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, no worries. I mean, but it's just something to be. It's just something to be aware of. Is that if you do, want to get a higher paying job, that you're gonna get drug tested. No, yeah, you can fake it, but that's on you, man. That's on you. You get caught, that's on you.
But
I mean,
is that common in the United States that you get a drug test?
oh yeah, oh yeah, definitely. If you,
Because
not
like
all jobs do. Not all jobs drug test here, but those jobs that don't drug test are not the jobs you want to work.
because
You want to go work
like
at a warehouse unloading packages out of a semi trailer that weigh 70 pounds each for 6.5 hours straight, making 12.50 an hour. By the time you're done, you tell me if you want to keep working there. You're not going to want to, because the managers are going to treat you like shit because they're on God knows what. They don't care about you. And the kind of people, and this is just my experience, um, they're not there to help you out. I have not met a single person working at these places that are helpful. None of them are. They don't care because they don't have any incentive to work hard because the work is already backbreaking on top of it. But to answer your question, not all drugs drug test, but those jobs that do drug test are going to be the ones that are going to pay the most and be able to provide a house or a living so that you can shelter yourself.
yeah, because I told you my job, we have a drug and alcohol test every 3 months, you know. So but let's say right now I can drink alcohol for a whole week, but then I stop drinking alcohol for 8 or 9 weeks. So when they test me, there's no problem, you know. So I think maybe in the Netherlands that's a little bit different, but
Yeah,
it's
it's
yeah,
different here in the
like I
States.
said, even though somebody uses drugs, I mean, that doesn't have to mean that he is not a good coworker.
No, not at all. I mean, that's not no. I mean, I'm sure that there's tons of people that are on drugs that are perfectly fine. There are plenty of people that are very nice people that are drug users. Um, but so yeah, no, that's definitely true. I agree with you on that. I mean, I don't give a shit if people do drugs or not. You can do whatever the hell you want. I mean, it's your life. You do whatever you want. If you want to go do heroin, you want to go do cocaine, you want to go inject yourself, you want to go smoke weed, do drugs, be an alcoholic, that's on you. I mean, you do whatever you want. Um, but just from my experience, and I can only speak for myself now, but I will agree with this. It is an ass backwards world we live in because, as far as I'm concerned, alcohol is so much more dangerous than marijuana. I
Yeah.
can't tell you how many the amount of accidents and deaths that have occurred from drinking and driving and all that stuff. But they don't drug test. They don't care if you drink and you're an alcoholic, but they care if you're smoking pot. That doesn't make a lick of sense to me.
No, because like also in the Netherlands, you know, drugs are illegal, but you can buy liquor everywhere. And yeah, coming back,
That's right.
this is just like, let me tell you this way: when I sniffed cocaine, for me that is enough. When I smoked marijuana, that is enough. But if I'm drunk, I also want to smoke weed. I also want to sniff cocaine, you know. So for me personally, alcohol is way more dangerous than all those things combined. And the fucked up thing is, it is legal. So, and like I said before at the beginning of this conversation, most people that are addicted to alcohol, they only drink beer, and and just because, and only because it's 5%. Do not be mistaken by beer, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I agree with that. I mean, well, that's funny how there's a liquor store in America. You can get alcohol. I can walk down the street and get more alcohol than I can drink. Anywhere I go, there's alcohol at the grocery store. There's alcohol at every single gas station in America. There is alcohol there's enough alcohol here to kill the whole planet in one gas station. It's funny how they make that legal, but everything else is illegal because they know that because you know why? I'll tell you why, Ghost. Because alcohol provides people it gets people arrested for DUI, which provides income for the court system. That also provides the justice system a way to persecute people, which is more income for them, and it never ends. It's a money generating thing. They want people to drink. They want to pacify people with alcohol. They want them to get arrested off of alcohol. When I used to smoke weed and marijuana, I never touched a lick or a drop of alcohol. I completely cut it out of my life. I was sober. But the minute that I quit that shit, guess what? Right back to alcohol. So I completely agree with you on that. Because they know these things. The people who run this place know what is effective on managing the population. They know that if you get people drunk and arrested, it's income. It ruins their lives. You can't get a driver's license if you get a DUI. You lose your license. You can't go nowhere. You can't drive. You can't get a job if you can't have a car. So what are you going to do? So, and guess what? They make it legal. And the minute that you turn 21, you can go out there and buy alcohol. When you're 21 years old, do you think that you know enough about the side effects and the repercussions of what you're about to do? No, you don't. You don't give a fuck. Well, I used to, when I was much younger in my early 20s, I had a friend and he ended up getting arrested multiple times. He went off the deep end. And he was in college. Dude, I can't even explain to you how much alcohol he drank and the drugs he did and everything. And, you know, that's what they want. They want a drugged up, alcoholic population who can't think for themselves. And that's why they make alcohol legal, because the damaging effects of it are so much more than any of the. That's why they make those drugs illegal, because they don't want people not consuming alcohol. What happens if all these beverage companies like Miller, Budweiser, Bud Light, all these alcohol companies, what happens if all those people stop? What happens if the whole population stops drinking? Well, they go out of business. And you know how much money they make? Billions and billions and billions of dollars. Those corporational CEOs are not about to lose all their income because the population is going to stop drinking. So behind the scenes, politically and financially and through the government, they want people to continue to drink because they get money. I mean, it is so corrupt that people have no idea. And that is why all those things are legal. Meanwhile, marijuana is illegal. And if you get caught with that shit, you're going to jail. And the companies don't want people on marijuana, even though there is no studies. Excuse me. There's no studies that show that it's any worse. But meanwhile, if you drink and you see an alcoholic, they can't even function. So it's so backwards that it's sad. Personally, for me, I think marijuana should be completely legal, because there's no reason why, and the companies specifically should allow it unless otherwise. Now, I understand. I personally, I wouldn't want a doctor performing brain surgery while he's high. I really don't. I wouldn't want to go through that. Okay. I don't want a doctor high while he's trying to work on my brain. Or I wouldn't want a police officer high while he's potentially having to shoot a victim and then ends up hitting somebody else because he can't focus. So I don't think I do. There are certain professions that should not be under the influence, but they should be. There should be some kind of drug test or something that they should take while they are on the job. That, you know, and I don't know how this would work, and I could be speaking out of my ass, but unless you're if you're at work, you need to be sober, depending on whatever job you have. Now, if you're doing some menial task, I don't give a shit. Do whatever you want. But if you're a police officer or you're a doctor or you're in an important position, you need to be sober. Whatever you do off of your time, I don't give a fuck. You want to smoke pot, do drugs, whatever, do whatever you want. But if you're at work, you need to be sober to make sure that society functions. But, you know, man, it's ass backwards. I mean, alcohol is legal, but meanwhile, drugs are illegal, and alcohol is so much more damaging to you than marijuana or many of these other drugs, like you said. And it's fucking insane. It's insane how ass backwards this whole system is.
Yeah, true. But like in the Netherlands, like it is pretty normal that, let's say, at birthday parties or you having a party from work, it is totally normal that people are drinking beer, champagne, wine. But if you smoke one marijuana joint, people look at you like, "Yo, what the fuck are you doing, man?" But beer is normal, wine is normal, but like the side effects are more extreme than marijuana. So yeah, I get your
Yeah,
point, man. It is, yeah, why, man? But yeah, it is what it is, man.
it is what it is. I mean, we just have, you know, we just have to do the best we can to try to survive. And like Father No said there, alcohol is a cash cow for the justice system. It is. I mean, I want to look up and see how much DUIs happen, you know, and I don't even need to look it up. I know that the DUI rate is through the roof versus any other kind of drug like marijuana or pills. Well, pills are dangerous. I'll tell you that. Do not do pills because that shit will kill you.
Yeah, let me tell you this way. I think I used ecstasy 3 times, but like if you take a half a pill ecstasy, yo, bro, you have seriously no ID, man. Like when I drink alcohol, I feel different, but I know what I'm doing. If I sniffed cocaine, I feel different, but I know what I'm doing. If I smoke marijuana, I feel different, but I know what I'm doing. A half a pill of ecstasy, yo, bro, you have seriously no idea what a small pill, and it only costs maybe 4 or 5 euros, what that actually can do with you, man. Damn, bro, you have no idea.
I
And
know this
the
goes.
funny thing is, like, I know people that are using ecstasy. They always they like people that are using. And right now, I'm talking about the Netherlands. People that are using ecstasy, they always feel better than people that are using cocaine or marijuana or alcohol. But like they think ecstasy is okay because it's only 4 or 5 euros. But yeah, that is some heavy shit, man. You have seriously no
Yeah,
idea, man.
it'll kill you. I've
Yeah,
known
yeah,
people that have done benzodiazepines, which are depressant drugs, which are pills, oxycontins, and all that kind of stuff, and they ruin their lives. Pills will kill you, no questions. That's why I never touched that shit because I even knew back then that that stuff will ruin your life, and I mean it will ruin your life. It will kill you. It will kill you. Those drugs are made by the pharmaceutical companies, and that shit is damn near that stuff is basically synthetic drugs is what it is. um, there's not anything natural about pills whatsoever. That shit is made in a lab, and it is there to I mean, oxycontin, I mean, what is the purpose, Ghost? Do you know of oxycontin? It's a painkiller, but that shit is so strong
so sorry.
that
What do you mean?
Well, I'm sorry, let me clarify. I was saying, we have something called Oxycontin. You know what Oxycontins are?
Uh,
It
do you mean that laughing gas? Do you mean that?
No, that's not Oxycontin. Oxycontin is a painkiller pill. It's a pill.
Oh
And
yeah,
it is
I don't know, man. I don't know.
well, there is a massive problem, an addiction problem in this country with those pills, Oxycontin. Johnny Midnight, how's it going, man? It's an opioid. That's right, it's an opioid. It is a very, very strong painkiller. And it's on the level of a palliative. And a palliative is what they give dying patients because they're in so much pain that they can't even function. That's what it's on the level of a palliative. It's so strong that it will just knock you out. And people are so addicted to that shit now that they walk around like they're zombies. I mean, it's a synthetic drug, and this anything synthetic that the lab or the pharmaceutical companies make will kill you. It's designed to kill you. That's the purpose of it. That's why there's an epidemic. I think the newest thing now here in America is fentanyl. We now have a massive fentanyl problem in this country. Go look up what fentanyl does to you, and you'll be very shocked. There's people are literally
What?
walking around
How
like
you pronounce it?
zombies.
Fentanyl?
Fentanyl. Fynnatal, I think is how you spell it.
Fentanyl. Let me.
Fentanyl is a horse tranquilizer, I believe, or something like that. I could be wrong, but it is so strong, and there's such an epidemic of it. It's killing people left and right. I mean, if you take such as a sniff of that shit, you're almost dead. And I have a buddy of mine whose mother has some problems, and she took some of that shit and it put her in the hospital, and she started having seizures and all kinds of stuff. And if you see, go look up on YouTube, go look up fentanyl and type in people that are on fentanyl. They look like they are demonically possessed. I mean, that stuff is super dangerous, and we have a problem. And it's just so funny that we have an epidemic. So now they're pushing that stuff, and people are dying left and right. What a great population control fucking drug.
Hmm. When it comes to drugs, uh, do you know what one of the most addictive drugs is in this world?
What's that?
A cigarette.
I believe it. I used to be addicted to
Yeah,
cigarettes.
man. Yeah, there is
I,
one subject that I want to talk about you, but can I smoke a cigarette if you have time?
Speaking of cigarettes, go ahead.
Okay, give me about 4 minutes, man. I will be
Of
back.
course, go ahead.
You can talk to the chat, man.
All right, let's see who we have in the chat. We're having a great discussion today. We'll probably go on here for maybe another 20 minutes, and then I got to go because I have to go to work tomorrow. But Johnny Midnight's in the chat. How you doing, Johnny? We have Exiting the Matrix. We have Douglas Edwards. We have Paul Concord. Dark Dimensions, hello again. We have, how do you the fuck you pronounce your name? Dougaloo. Opioids are awful. A doctor should almost never prescribe those. People are addicted after being prescribed for having a broken bone or something small. Yeah, I mean they want people addicted to these drugs because the pharmaceutical companies get money, and people get affected deeply by them. And that's how it is. We have Delhart McGregor. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I can't tell you guys, man. I've seen tons of people that take pills. I've seen people that have taken that stuff, and their lives they disintegrate into vegetables, and that's it. It's a terrible thing, and they snort it, they inject it, and they just go look up what happens. If you guys, I'm sure everybody's aware of it. I think, to prove my point, I think everybody in this chat has known somebody that has been addicted to that shit at some point in their life or another. That's how much of an epidemic it is. It's terrible. And Ghost was talking about cigarettes. I smoked for about 5 or 6 years, and that shit was hard to quit. And I'll tell you what made me quit cigarettes. One day I was just outside smoking a cigarette, and I got so tired of the taste of cigarettes because I smoked so much. I was at the peak of my addiction to cigarettes. I was going through a half a pack a day. There are people who smoke a pack a day, and at one point, I think I've smoked a couple packs a day. But I couldn't even do that. My body I just couldn't handle it. But people go through those addictions. I mean, I vape, and that's nicotine. So I'm honestly not completely over the addiction. You know, um, I mean, that's why I quit smoking. I mean, I got one day I just was smoking a cigarette, and I got so tired of the taste of the smell of the taste of a cigarette. I just said I'm done, and I didn't want to get lung cancer. You know, and it's just it is what it is. And the kind of crap they put in those things, dude, it's crazy. You know, I picked up I picked up the vape because I couldn't. I was having problems breathing, and I couldn't. I mean, it's bad for you, man. But I understand why people smoke. I get it. I have no problem. I mean, I get it. It's on you though. I mean, there's health consequences to it, but I understand it is a hard habit to kick. That's why I recommend people pick up a vape. At least you won't be filling your lungs with tar. You know, but it is a hard habit to kick. There's no questions asked. It's tough. I've been there. I smoked for 5 or 6 years, I believe. I smoked everything in between the sun. I smoked the Marlboro Reds, the Marlboro Shorts. I smoked Camels. I smoked everything. Unfiltereds too. Those will kill you even faster. you know, it's just it is what it is, man. Johnny Midnight says, yeah, your voice sounds way smoother now. Yeah, I mean, it's probably all the water in the it's probably all the freaking water in the vape because vape is propylene glycol and vegetable glycerin with flavoring. That's what it is. Those cigarettes will make your voice harsh. Yeah, because you're inhaling smoke. I mean, it's gonna make your voice sound rough. They put that. Let's see here. Dougaloo says if you can't get off addictive substance, so cigarettes are literally radioactive and poisonous. They have arsenic and lead and shit. Yeah, they do. They're terrible for you. That's why they're so addictive. Vapes have antifreeze in them, also deadly. I think that's menthol. I think menthol has it in there for sure. Definitely menthol. I think I don't do menthol, but yeah, it's none of this shit's good for you. None of it's good for you. That's why. I mean, you don't need to be vaping. You don't need to be drinking. You don't need to be doing no drugs, and you need to eat healthy. If you want to be healthy, if you want to be a healthy individual, then you don't need to be doing any of this stuff. None of it, period. None of it. And I know that's hard for people to hear, and I understand because life is hard and we all have vices. Everybody's got a vice to help us cope and keep ourselves from snapping someone's neck off. I understand. I'm not blaming anybody here. If you got some kind of addiction to cigarettes or whatever, I get it, man. I understand. I understand why you do it. Believe me, I've been there, and in a lot of cases I am there. It is what it is.
Yo, I'm back, man.
But yeah, Ghost, go ahead and talk about cigarettes. I was mentioning that.
But you said how many time you have?
I can continue for about 20 more minutes or so, and then I got to get going. So, because I have
cool,
to work
man. First of all, I wanna. Yeah, there's one subject that I want to talk about you, but before, I want to thank everybody in the chat. Let's see the chat. There's one. Last real one. Yeah, bro. I don't know I don't know if you are still here, but yo, bro. What is your problem with me, man? I'm just telling my stories. I'm just being honest. I'm just telling about the person that I am. Yeah, I don't know if you are still here, but yeah, last real one. What is your problem with me, man? Just tell me. But anyway, Element. Yeah, one other subject. When it comes to the manosphere, when it comes to MGTOW, do you think that when it comes to MGTOW and Red Pill content on the internet on YouTube, do you think that uh, yeah, I think when it comes to content, that is pretty much gone, and that is one of the reasons that I take a couple of steps back from the manosphere. Yeah, what is your opinion about that?
Uh, well, as far as MGTOW content, yeah, I mean, all the good old days are gone. Um, those days are over. We're not, I don't think we're ever going to get back to that place unless, well, yeah, I don't think we're ever, I don't think those days are long gone. I think everyone has said what they needed to say about that. And a lot of the people, I mean, you move on. I mean, you move on to, um, better, I guess, better things, you can't, if you want to grow as a person, you can't stay on page one all day long. You learn from page one and you move on to page two and then page three and then page four, taking all of those things with you, and you evolve as a person. But that's why I do these podcasts, because I still like to talk to people. I like the interaction. I enjoy the discussions. I mean, I don't watch Netflix. I don't even have a Netflix account. Everybody in the world has a Netflix account. I don't. I've been on Netflix for many, many, many years. I got rid of it because of the time. The reason why I got rid of Netflix is because they were promoting some show that was very, very pedophilic. And I said, I'm done. I said, I refuse. And they took it off. And so I said, no, fuck you. You guys promoted this shit knowing that you saw what you saw. No. And I've never went back. I canceled my Netflix that day and I haven't been back. So I don't watch I haven't, dude, the last movie I saw, I can't even tell you. Um I don't watch movies, I don't watch TV shows. Nowadays, I look up things that I am interested in wanting to know and wanting to learn about, and I mainly listen to podcasts and I go to work. That's it. And I'm happy with that. There's so little content out there now that I really have any interest in anymore. I have an Amazon Prime membership because I order everything through Amazon because I never leave the house and I don't go into stores to buy shit really. Um, and they offer a video streaming service on there. And I don't even watch any of the shit on there anyway. I find more interest on YouTube watching some dude who spends 3 days in the middle of the wilderness trying to survive, or spending a night in the winter cold with a makeshift shelter. I find that more interesting to me than watching a repeat of a TV show of the same concept that they've come up with 1,000 times.
Yeah, yeah, I get your point, man.
You
And
know what I mean?
like,
And so,
yeah,
as far as the MGTOW stuff, I have not paid attention to any of it, to be honest with you. In years, I haven't, because I already know what I know. I already know what I need to know, and I've evolved. But I still come back because I want to bring what I have evolved into the discussion of where I'm at now. That's why you don't see me make very much content anymore. It's only on like special occasions that I bring something out, you know? But yeah, man, I can't even recommend any MGTOW people other than like Messenger, because he's the guy that I've only spoken to through the whole time. I have a lot of the guys that I used to talk to are just not around anymore. Or they
I
did
think I
something.
think those guys, they are still around, but they gone the wrong way. But the funny thing is, Element, like, I think I discovered your channel, yeah, too late, because like I started watching MGTOW videos since let's say I think October or November 2015, and yeah, me myself, I waited 3 years before starting my own channel. And like I have a video, it's called Walking in the Forest, and some guy by the name of Lazarus commented on that video. So I click on his channel and I think, hey, yo, good content. And actually, because of Lazarus, I came to your channel. But yeah, better late than never. But there is still good MGTOW content out there, but you really have to go dig deep into it. But it's I think MGTOW on the internet, it's pretty much, I think it is the same like old school hip hop. It is never coming back.
Yeah, I mean there's a time and there's a place for when things happen, and I believe that we had our time and we had our place. The world is so much different than what it is back when we started. We are on the verge. I mean, Russia is at war with the Ukraine. We have inflation. Our president is destroying the United States. I mean, there's a lot more pressing issues at the moment, like surviving. How am I going to pay my bills and have enough money on the table in case something happens so that I don't lose everything I have? That, to me, that's more important at the moment. And so, the things just evolve. The world changes and we change. We get older. I'm a lot more. I'm completely different. I have a completely different job than what I had when I first started this channel. I was in a completely different mindset at the time than when I started the channel. And so the channel is almost like a diary of my inner thoughts of everything that has gone on in my life, all the people that have come and gone throughout the years. Yet everyone still keeps coming back because I think that they know there's no other place to go. And I have never, in my channel, have ever asked for any money. And have I thought about it? Yeah, I have. There's some times I've fallen on some rough times at times. And I've thought, you know what? Maybe I could do, and I said, no, that's not what this is about. This is about helping people out. And I don't think you should have to pay for that. And the other thing is, tons of people do that. They go out and they have Patreons and they have this and they have that, trying to get money. And it's so tacky. I want to see somebody unique. I want to see somebody who is there to talk about the truth and don't give me any bullshit where I have to go subscribe to somebody to get the truth. That's bullshit. In my opinion, that's bullshit. I shouldn't have to pay anybody to get the answers that everyone needs to know about. And I think that's taken advantage of people. And in almost in a minimal way, it's extortion. Because they're basically saying, I ain't going to tell you nothing that you need to know unless you pay me. Now, extortion is where you hold somebody, you know some dirt on somebody, and you say, if you tell them, then this is going to happen. It's like a reverse extortion in a way. But that's our society. Everything is run on money, And I understand why people do it. I get it. You got to pay your bills. People fall on hard times, and the way how unstable our society is now, I understand why people do it. I'm not putting anybody at fault. But personally for me, I just didn't do that. But to go back to the point of what you were saying about MGTOW, these are skills that we have, or I should say, this is knowledge that we have learned throughout our tenure going through this. And these are things that we will take with us forever. And I'll give you an example real quick. I've got a buddy of mine who just got married again. And he just bought a house. He's got a really good paying job and all this. And the reason why he's doing all this is because his girlfriend, now his wife wants to get married and have a child, I mean. Well, I'm a single man. I have all the money that every bit of money that I make is my money. I don't have to give it out to child support. I have a coworker that has to pay child support every single week. And he is working his tail off because he has to pay child support. So at the end of the work week, after you've been through dealing with your asshole boss, you worked your butt off, gone through whatever, you don't get to take home any of that money because you have to go pay it to some woman who slept around and was irresponsible, who you will never see. And as far as I'm concerned, the money that they make, they can do whatever they want with it. It's just money that they have to give for child support, and whatever money that woman, whatever she does with that money is up to her discretion. Whether or not she actually uses that on the child or not is, I think, irrelevant. Could you imagine going through that? Where I work 50 hours a week, getting yelled at by my boss, having to pay taxes, having to cover groceries, get to work, pay the gas bill, pay all my utilities. And at the end of my work week, I have to give half of that money, or whatever the case may be, if not more, to a woman I'll never see because she was irresponsible or is a piece of shit as a person. I'm a single guy. I get all my money. I can do whatever the hell I want, and I have nobody breathing down my neck. If my boss gives me any shit, I've got a savings account full of money where if I really needed to, I could tell him to go fuck himself and leave. And I wouldn't feel a damn thing about it. It wouldn't hurt me one bit. And I've got all my bills covered for the next several months. I can't do that if I got child support. They're going to expect me to have a job to be able to say, and if I don't, I'm going to jail. What a terrible situation to be in, where I work my ass off and I don't get what I'm supposed to get out of it. You're a slave. You're a slave. And so my buddy, I've tried to warn him too. I tried to tell him, I said, dude, just, you know what? You're better. Don't do this. Don't do that, because this is what's going to happen. He didn't want to listen to me because he's caught up into the relationship of what he's in. And what is he going to, and he's so caught up into it that he doesn't want to leave because he's so fixated on this girl that if he told her, no, I'm not doing this, I ain't giving you no money, we ain't having a kid because of this, and this, she'll leave him. And then for him, that is worse than, like, this is how brainwashed some of these people are, that to him, that is better than, let me clarify. When it goes good, it's good. But when it goes wrong, it goes really, really wrong. And you can ask Messenger and any of these other men on this channel that have been through this before. It will drive you to suicide. And it has happened. There are tons of men out there that have killed themselves over the situations of what these people have done to them. So for me, MGTOW has saved my life. And I have learned things that I have been through some hard times. And, what got me through those hard times was knowing that it could be so much worse. Because even though when I went through my hard times, and I still go through my hard times, that I still make all the money I make every single week. Now, yes, I got to give the goddamn government a tax check, but I make more money than my coworker does because he's got to pay child support. And he's in a relationship with a woman who has 2 kids on top of the kids he already owns. So he is fucked. And in order for him to pay the bills, because he's making no money off of all the money he's got to give in child support, he's got to work a second job. So he's working at least 6 to 7 days a week just to make the ends meet. Could you imagine being in that situation and then you just bought a $300,000 house, you've got a really good paying job, and everything's going well so far? But then what happens if she decides to say, you know what? I'm going to divorce you, and I'm going to take everything you own. And now you lost your job, you lose your house, you lose everything, and you start all the way back from square one. I will never in my life ever have to worry about that, because all the money and everything I do, I am the boss of my life. I don't have to. I don't have children. I will not get married, and none of this stuff. I don't ever have to worry about it. So, in other words, if I wanted to go down to the shooting range and blow $350 on 1,000 rounds of ammo and blow through all that ammo, I can do that and not think twice about it and I would still be fine. I'll still be able to pay all my bills, go to work and everything, and still have plenty of money left over. I can't do that if I have to pay child support. You can't do nothing. You are a prisoner. That's my thoughts on it.
Yeah, true. And the last 5 minutes. One thing I want to say, like, that is also what I always say to other people. Like, it is not really about how much money do you make every month. It is about how much money do you still have at the end of that month. Those are my thoughts. So, like, that you maybe make more money than somebody else, that doesn't mean you can save more money. So, it is not about how much money do you make every month. Yeah, how much money do you still have at the end of the month, But anyway, Element, I want to thank you. If there are any guys in the chat box that want to ask me something personal, ask now. Again, last real one. According to him, I'm a toxic dude, and Element, you are defending me because you want to have a guest. Yo, last real one. I don't know who you are, but go fuck yourself, man. You're a piece of shit, man.
That's fine. Let him say what he wants. I don't care.
But no, it's okay, man. Element, thanks, man. And
well, I appreciate you coming on, and I think we had a really good Thanksgiving podcast. We went on for 3.5 hours, and I think that was a really good one. And I'm glad that
actually at the beginning I was like, maybe 1 hour, maybe 2 hours, but almost 3.5 hours. But a Shining, Messenger, Warhorse, where the fuck are you guys?
Yeah, where are you guys at, huh? Well, it's late. I mean, it's like 4 a.m, I think, for them right now. They're all in the UK, so. But
for me right now it's 3:48 in the morning. But I am free from work the next upcoming 2 days. But I'm gonna start Sunday morning. That is fucked up. But I'm free now for 2 days, man.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, I have to work tomorrow, and then after that, I have the weekend off. Thank God. This week has been rough at work. All kinds of stuff going on, and tomorrow's going to be a long day. But after that, I have the weekend off. So things are, work has its challenges, but I'm just grateful I have a job and that I have a really good schedule, and that things are I'm able to save money and prepare and everything, because a lot of people don't have that option. And I'm glad that we got to do this podcast, and we will definitely do a Christmas podcast for sure. Hopefully we can get some more people to join and all of that. So I'm looking forward to that. That's coming up here in a few weeks, and then we're on to the next year. And so we keep on going, and that's pretty much all we can do. But
cool, man. And actually, offline, I want to say one thing to you, but I want to give some advice to everybody that's listening. Prepare yourself, because bad times are coming. Make sure you got enough food in your house. Save some. Like right now, I have food for about 6 or 7 weeks, but that is not enough, man. You need food for 3 months or 6 months. Save some money, and I am like cash money. So not money on your banking account, no, cash money. Prepare yourself, because what we have been through the last 2-3 years, that was only the beginning. Like bad times are coming, guys. Make sure you have enough food in your house, cash money, and only think about yourself. For most people, it is already too late, so try to save yourself. And even though people make fun of you, and even though people are laughing at you because you are collecting food, we will see who survives the longest in this spiritual jungle. So guys, everybody in the chat box, thanks for listening. Element, thanks, man. And
I appreciate you having me
I
on,
want to
man.
say one
It was
thing
a lot
to
of
you.
fun. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I appreciate everybody for joining. Father No, thank you for joining. We have Dougaloo, um, Charlie33 MWHPS, Johnny Midnight. We have Exiting the Matrix, Douglas Edwards. And we also have Dark Dimensions. We have Delhart McGregor. I'm just trying to give a shout out here to everybody that came. Armchair Revolution, dude, it's good to see you again. I hope you're doing all right. It's been a long time since we've talked. A lot of these old timers, man. These are guys I used to talk with years and years ago. Armchair is actually in the military from last time I remember. I don't know if he's still in the military. Let's see who else we have.
Yeah, when we started this stream, we also had Chronic Blast, but
Chronic Blast. Yep,
yeah,
I
but
haven't seen him since.
yeah,
But
and like, do you know what it is, Element? Like, do you know what it is? People always hate you more than you would probably think, and that is also why I take a couple of steps back from the manosphere. It's like most people that I'm not gonna say that people hate me, but people cannot stand me, and I think you get my point, man.
yeah, well, that's okay. I mean, it doesn't matter because in the end, what happens and what comes of things really boils down to survival at this point. I mean, it's not what it used to be, 10, 15, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. We're in a different world now, and we have to reprioritize what matters. And that's why I don't argue with people, because the people that want to give people shit, that, you know what, they're probably going through a hard time. But regardless, it's going to come down to, you know, if things keep going the way they're going, none of that's going to matter. It's going to be, do I have enough money and food to put on the table? And I don't want to see anybody go through that. It's going to be tough. I mean, people in this country, especially in America, have never seen a real hard time before, especially the generations now. They have never seen what a real hard time looks like. And I don't want to see people go through that. So I always try to be nice to everybody because you never know what people are going through. And I've been through hard times. Ghost, you have been through hard times. Johnny's been through hard times. Father No has been through hard times. We've all been through hard times. And we all wish we had somebody there to help us through that. And we just have to do the best we can. It doesn't mean we have to like each other, but it means that we have to try to get along the best we can because we're all in this. We're all we've got, guys. We're it. The government ain't going to come help you. They're not going to come save you. They're not going to come bail you out. None of that's going to happen. We are all we've got.
Yeah,
And that's
true,
it.
man. And like everybody in this chat box, and like including last real one, yo, bro. I don't know who you are, and I don't understand why you have something against me. But if you are here, yo, all we got is us. And like I said again, try to save yourself because for most people, yeah, it's already too late, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Just do the best you can. And I hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving. Hope everybody hopefully got a little bit of that food in. If you didn't, no worries. You can make it at home. You can make it yourself. Most of you guys out here are probably single men out there. Guess what? You can learn how to make it. You can make your own food. You want to have a little Thanksgiving feast for yourself and make 16 casseroles? Do it. You have plenty of food to eat. You can make it happen. And that's why we have it so much better than people like my coworker and my boss who is married, who has children and has to pay and has to make sure that he has enough money. We don't have to worry about any of that stuff. We are free agents. We can do whatever we want. We are truly free in this situation. And I can't be thankful enough for that. The men like Messenger and people that have I have known in the past that we have talked with, any of you guys that I've talked with in the past, we've all gone through shit and we have helped each other out in our own ways that we can, and we have to help each other out. We got to get through this because, dude, let me tell you something. Next year is going to be rough. We're going to go through a rough winter this year, and next year is going to be even worse. I think it will be. So we have to get ready. We have to buckle up and do the best we can. But that's all I have to say. Ghost, is there any other things you want to say before we
Yeah, I
go?
want to add something to that. Yo, guys, try to enjoy, like, sometimes you have the feeling like, today was a fucked up day. Uh, Try, like, enjoy every fucked up day today, because tomorrow is gonna be more fucked up. And you think like, hey yo, yesterday wasn't so bad at all. So, and like, when it comes to the situation, like 2 years ago, I was like, it cannot be it cannot be more worse than this. But I take that back. Every year it's gonna get worse. So try to enjoy every fucked up day, because tomorrow is gonna be more fucked up.
You got to take one day at a time.
Yeah,
One
man.
day at a time. You can't take 2 days at a time anymore.
Yeah.
It's not like that anymore. You have to
Yeah,
take
but
one day at
guys,
a time.
yeah, Element, offline, I want to say one thing to you, but yeah, we're gonna stop this stream. Hey guys, thank you for the support. Thank you for listening. Uh, yeah, take care, guys. And like I said, try to save yourself, because for most people, it's already too late.
Yeah. Well, thanks everybody for joining, and we'll talk soon. Thanks for being with us on Thanksgiving, and we will see you on Christmas. And hope everybody has a good night. If you have to work tomorrow like me, hang in there. We got the weekend coming up. Let's make it happen.